somebody coming
Is that not on?
It was not on. You can
in? Is
start
somebody
now.
coming on in?
Yes.
This morning? We're opening a meeting of the Aransas County Appraisal Review Board. It is July the 27th, 8:30 in the morning. Present are Robert Dayton, Cindy Duck, Kathy Hoffman, and Charlie Powers.
Did you do
Is it
okay?
scanning stuff?
What?
Did you hear
Yes.
scanning stuff?
Yes.
Which one is it, the first one?
I believe it's the one under Albert Johnson.
1483.
Page 7. Page 7? Yeah.
They're gonna redo the sheets and put them in time order. They're not, now they're in case ID order.
Oh.
Wow. Okay, I'll give you $1, Kathy. Go to page 5 and say that last name.
Paralymbosis. Paralymbosis.
Remember, you're live.
No, it's just such a long name that it would be hard to say.
Okay, where are we at? Page 7, what?
In the middle.
Case 1483.
Number 14. Right.
Oh my goodness.
True comedy. True comedy. One of our employees just had a grandbaby, and her daughter is at home changing the diaper for the very first time, and she's over here going, she takes her shirt like this, and she's going, it's just comedy. It's just so good.
Oh my God.
I hope she gets used to it.
Oh,
Yeah, for real. Well, remember I was telling you my wife doesn't have a sense of smell.
Oh, so she can do it.
There was times when I would definitely hand that job off. Like, you do it. You don't understand.
so foul.
Even that, she didn't smell.
She cannot smell. Yeah, can't smell anything.
Is Ramona in?
No,
No,
she's
she's
not,
not
it's
coming.
Monday morning.
Okay, gotcha.
She'll be here later in the day.
As soon as we get this evidence scanned in, we'll bring first person back.
Okay.
All my 10. I did your job for you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
No problem.
I like your sweater. That's pretty.
I'm gonna find a pen somewhere.
Oh, look. Yeah.
This is 93. I guess they switched with you. What does that say? It says appraisal district. Here.
You've got. Oops.
Kathy, you okay?
Can I steal one of these pens?
Yeah. Okay. There was one that was charging. It was the one that was used. on
Yeah,
Friday.
I'll just put it to the citizen. for
You
now.
used my Kindle Fire?
I have no idea. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know.
Let's see.
Well, it has my name on it.
How much battery does it have in it?
Well, now he just switched it out with me. It was over there charging. That's why I'm thinking you
What's
used
it at? Is it like 20%?
No, it's at 93.
You good with 93?
Yeah, that's not it.
So
Do all
documents.
these today?
Are we doing a lot today?
Presumably. Presumably.
No, it's not so bad.
Local storage. Send to Kindle, cloud drive. Why is it all looking like this?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I?
Seriously.
I know.
Lose the purse while you're back. What is this, the 27th?
Yeah.
I know. Well, because I thought it might rain.
Yeah.
And so if it does, I'll just stay and work on my computer during lunch.
Okay.
I know. You're right. I'm not even
Step
disagreeing. I know. You're right. I know.
It's supposed to rain today?
Showers.
Well, they've been saying that for.
Oh my God.
Days
We
and
got our
weeks.
electricity back yesterday at
Yeah, how did?
12:45 in the afternoon. We were out from 4:30 in the morning the day before.
Good gracious.
No, it was
Yeah.
horrific. It,
Just overnight you were out.
no, overnight and a day. So 2 nights and a day.
Saturday night and Sunday night, or
Yeah.
Friday night and Saturday? When did-
Friday
when
and
did we get the
Saturday.
storm? Friday night?
Yeah, it started blowing.
Friday,
night.
yeah,
It was really Saturday night.
How much water did you get?
a lot, like every, like,
Every street was
we
flooded,
couldn't leave
wasn't
our
it?
house.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And it was just, it was
Amy, what's the case number?
crazy.
It is
It
one
was
four
crazy.
eight three. That was power up the wall.
No, it's just like, it's weird the way they've done it. And the guys from the electric company were telling us, because it's just weird.
Section door.
Yeah, it was us and the Kermseys, what's his name? Now, you know, okay, like all of our houses were out. But,
Was it hot and humid?
oh God, it was horrible. I was so mad. I was like, and I'm sitting here looking out and every house around me had electricity. And it was just like,
should
are
go
you
to
kidding me?
Friend's house or something.
Oh, I was so mad. Oh,
What did they, the storm surge there, is that what happened? I mean,
no,
from
this
the water.
happened back in June, June when it rained real hard. So there's a problem with something. And, so the AEP guys told us what we need to do to get it looked at seriously once this all
Yeah, but I
comes.
mean, no, but with the water, was there a storm surge that came over onto Fulton Beach Road? I mean,
Oh,
to
yeah.
Bay Shore?
Oh, yes, it was like, yeah, it was going straight across from Bay Shore, going across, coming over Riviera and going into Little Bay.
Are you kidding?
It was solid water, like bay and bay.
Oh,
I mean, but Little Bay and then the Big Bay. It was solid water. It was crazy.
what?
Yeah.
Never seen that happen here.
No, neither have I.
It's real low there, but.
So there's boards all over with nails in them and just, it's like,
Placement,
Oh, thank you.
had quite a bit of evidence, that's what's taking us so long. But we're ready.
Oh my God,
I'm gonna
like
bring
that
him in.
Is he still in here? Is he in the building yet?
Not yet, I'm bringing him in.
Okay.
it's like that book worth of evidence.
So should we get rid of these and she's getting us new ones?
Oh,
Those weren't in the time order, so we're replacing those.
so totally get rid of these.
Yeah, we can get rid of those.
Thank you so much. You take such good care of us.
Go. Well, Mr. Powers was the one that noticed it, so. Thank him. Hey,
Thank you, Charlie.
you're holding here.
That's the old.
Let's see.
Thanks, Val.
All right, I'm gonna bring Mr. Johnson in.
Okay.
Page, bottom of page 2.
Oh. Oh, because now they're in the order of times.
Yeah.
Got it. So how do you, I mean, like, which, these aren't, so is all of this? No.
What property is that? We're looking at?
Well,
What'd you say?
What property is that? Is that a building?
on our on
602
these,
Market Street?
1483, yeah. 602 East Market Street.
Yeah, I know. I just wondering what building it is.
Oh, I don't know.
oh, I think it says office building, probably. Mine doesn't have, it's not dividing them by account. That's weird.
Val's getting Al Johnson ready right now. It's case 1483.
That's okay.
I don't care. Okay, so I go back, okay.
Okay.
When I get documents,
Yeah, good one.
I don't get it. I don't know what it can, what, all. I still don't know what,
I don't want to look at that either. I
okay.
have no idea.
What is it?
She
I
needs to get to
seriously
where
don't
the
know.
folders are.
You're in 2019 PBS. Eamon and Mike have these.
Oh, that's right, they
Friday,
used
next
mine,
morning.
that's right.
There you go.
Okay, cool, thank you very much.
No problem.
That's my coffee.
Need a straw hole.
Yeah, right. No, it's a motel.
Charlie, did your street fair well?
My street? Yeah, no
No
problem.
flooding, no nothing?
No.
Cool, what about yours?
We did, very funny.
There was no standing water anywhere. I mean, not even a puddle.
I mean,
Me.
our roads and yards look just like they did after the hurricane, after Harvey.
Really? Wow.
Because everybody's docks got beat up, so there's
I
wood
think you
with
must have had
nails.
like a mini tornado over there or something. We didn't have any of that. It was like, I didn't even know, the windows.
But it was the
blowing.
storm surge. The storm surge was worse with this.
That's what I heard, yeah. And it was higher than when it was during the hurricane.
Yeah,
It was high tide when it came in.
and it just, how it would calm down and there'd be another storm, right? And so it tore up a bunch of people's docks.
Any house problems?
I don't think so. Cause it wasn't items flying in the air, it was stuff from the water and the rain was just.
Oh, there was some boats around over there.
I think everybody pretty much moved their boats.
Most of those.
Corpus, did you
Yeah,
see?
that's-
Oh my
that's
God,
slammed, yeah.
at that Del Sol complex where they have a marina for their boats. And all the catwalks for the boats were just gone. And the boats, there were only out of all the boats, there were only 3 or 4 that were tied up. The rest of them were just sideways over here, flooded. It's just
They
Corpus.
got that same storm surge, obviously.
Yeah, and I think Corpus may have gotten it, or it did, worse than we did.
Oh, yeah. They were closer to the outhead, so.
But it was the surge this time, I think. I mean, the rain wasn't scary, the wind wasn't even, trees were bent over, but we see them bent over all the time.
Yeah. I don't think we even had any high winds. None that
We
I
did
saw.
have some. Okay, protest form, please have marked the same things. That's weird.
This is not good.
No.
What's going on?
I don't know, but we're wasting valuable time.
Well, we've got a
Well,
lot of
especially with all the cases we've got.
cases on here.
You go get them, Charlie.
My patience is running out.
It's 125 pages of evidence. See that? Yeah, go under taxpayer evidence, it's 125 pages. That's what that book is. That blue book. Well, I don't understand this. It's too complicated. Jeez.
All right, that one's settled. We're gonna do the next one, just a phone in. I don't know which
Are you
one.
serious?
Do I look serious? Do I look pissed?
So 1483 is settled.
Yeah.
At least they got rid of it.
So what are we doing now?
We're not doing this one. It got settled.
Oh, I didn't.
Which
sign
is the next one up,
Wow, there's a
Val?
lot of paper here.
Yes,
Never mind. Oh, I signed it.
that's all right.
I'm sorry.
No,
Oh.
that's not it. Here it is, right in front of you. Okay,
Can we
the
get
next
Jack?
one is a phone in, and
it. Put a mask on.
Oh, yay.
What property?
I
it
can breathe.
is, let me find it here. It's case number 858. Last name is Narvid.
Yep, got it.
Okay,
858.
Let's see.
Thank you, Dan.
So this other one was this other case, so I can just get out of this one because he's handling it
So
formally.
you're on page 1.
Yes.
Yes.
So now I'm to which one?
to 25318,
Name?
Narvid.
All right. No meeting,
I'm so glad they
hearing
did that.
meetings. All right, so Cindy's here, Charles is here, Kathy's here, Robert's here. And that's what we've got thus far, right?
Right, Ramona's not here today.
Quarters, Jackie,
This is the.
phone conference held, is that right?
Yes, it's by phone.
Okay. And hit apply right now. Yes. We're just about to call them, right?
Well, they should be on the Zoom. We'll let them in through the Zoom.
Okay.
Wait, what name did you just say?
Narvid,
Oh, okay.
Narvid.
Got, okay, it sounded like you said a different name. I was like, that.
Narvid.
Let's see, exit minimized. So admin.
So that's.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Narvid?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my name's Mike Soto. I represent the district. Mr. Powers will handle the hearing, okay?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I am great for a Monday morning. How are you guys this morning?
Oh, we're just waking up.
I hear you
Yes.
there, let me tell you.
We have some administrative to go through, so just follow along with us.
You go right ahead, sir.
We're opening a hearing on case ID 2020-858,
I'm gonna sit there.
account number 25318. This hearing is being recorded. We are the Appraisal Review Board that will be hearing your protest today. President Edward, myself, Charlie Powers, Kathy Hoffman, Cindy Duck, and Robert Dayton. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. The Comptroller's Office provides an electronic survey for you to offer feedback about your access to the appraisal office or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary, but we do appreciate you taking it. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. In accordance with Tax Code Section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. I assume we have all of your evidence. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. I will begin. I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F. Kathy?
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code number 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. Laura, I'm assuming you're under oath for the duration of this hearing as a result of you signing the affidavit. Again? Okay, thank you.
And my name is Michael Soto. I do solemnly swear affirm the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board of the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Laura, do you hold an appraiser's license in the state of Texas?
Do I hold a what? I'm sorry.
Appraiser's license.
No, sir.
When I do the evidence.
Thank you.
I thought I just did.
Do you have access to, or do you have in front of you the hearing procedures times chart? It was page 5 of the material that was sent to you by the district.
Oh, I think I do somewhere.
Well, we'll walk you through it as we go. No problem.
Okay.
Question though, do you want to start first, or do you want the district to start first?
I mean, I've never done this before. So I'm not exactly sure what the process is or what I need to do. I've submitted, of course, some photographs, my evidence, and outline of an email that I'd sent to Ray, and that's just about all the evidence that I have to present.
Question is, do you want to present that evidence now, or do you want the district to present first?
I guess I can present that now.
Okay, fine. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, so you just want me to go through everything that I put in my evidence packet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry. Like I said, I haven't done this before. Okay, well, I think what I had read and what you had submitted a condo at 103 Nassau, which is a townhouse, which has 1,400 square feet, and it sold for $300 and something thousand, which that's no comparison to our condo, which is 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,050 square feet. You also use 504 Lauderdale and 508 Lauderdale. 504 is a first floor condo. Those condos are worth more because they have a large deck, and this one's on the end, so you have the side as well. That one also had expensive green lighting and high end. I know the inside doesn't go into account, but when people buy these condos, it does go into consideration whether you have granite, whether you have high-end counter or cabinets, high-end flooring, etc. The one at 508 Lauderdale, it's an end unit, and it too sold for quite a bit because of the same thing. It had high-end appliances, granite countertops, had a security system, whereas ours is rental only. It has inexpensive flooring, it has plain appliances, IKEA cabinets. So I don't think you can really compare our condo that's basically for a rental to somebody that's going to be living there with high-end things. But again, I understand though the inside doesn't come into consideration, but it does when an owner is selling their condo. The second store condos have a very small deck, whereas the first floor condos have a very large deck. You have the ability to park your boat right in front of your condo, whereas the second floor condos, you have a slip, or we did before the hurricane, I don't know if we do now, way on the other side. So that's kind of a drawback as well. There's several others that have recently sold. Second story ones, 810 Sand sold for $150, 707 Lauderdale sold for $149,625. 702 Lauderdale sold for $143. 801 Sand Dollar sold for $175. And there's one on the market right now, 807 Sand Dollar, and it's listed for $175,000. Again, it's a first floor condo that has a large deck, private boat slip. And again, the first floor, in our opinion, they're worth more because you have more room with that large deck, and especially the in condos are worth more. We're stuck in the middle, so we have no outside window. All we have is just our doors. I've also presented photographs showing what the area looks like right now. There's trash everywhere. There's some condos that don't even have French doors in them. I just can't imagine, you know, me trying to sell our condo for $277,000 and someone would buy it with the existing area looking at the way it is. There's probably only half the people that have their condos are finished where they have the keys. So I guess basically that's about all the evidence that I have to present as to why I feel like ours, you know, should not have appraisal value of $277,980 value.
Okay, so now the appraisal district has 2 minutes to cross-examine and then 5 minutes for their presentation.
Is there,
Okay.
bring up her evidence again there. At the time of this, at the time that this evidence went out, we weren't aware, but I believe that, are you aware that 203, just a couple of units down, sold for $295?
If that's right under us, and it's a first floor one. So they have that
But
large
it sold for,
deck.
so but you're aware it sold for $295?
Yes, or I don't think it's closed yet.
Okay, but it's basically right below you, is that correct?
That is correct, yes. First floor.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And yeah, yes, ma'am. All right, so that's all I have for the rebuttal or cross-examine. I'm sorry. The subject property, we show as complete. It currently has a value of $277,980. The comps that were used here, there's 3 actual sales that we have. Notice that the lowest one of those sales is $274,350, and that's at building number 500. There's 2 buildings in building number 500. One is an up and one is a down. So, you know, you look at that and you say, okay, that's the first floor. That's better. If you look at the difference between the 310, the 274 divided by the 310, that's a 12% adjustment between the up and the top floor. Those are identical units. The down floor is guarding some more, but we don't know if there was anything done, you know, that would make that down floor a little bit more. But just looking on the surface, those are in the same building, number 500, and one sold for $274, and the one on the down sold for $310. Having said that, hers is an up unit. The one that's at 508 Lauderdale is an up unit, and hers is at 277. This one sold for 274. I mean, they're right there. I mean, they're both the exact same square footage. If you look, the living area is 10, and the comp is 10. So as far as congruency with the market, the 274, 277 are, they're real similar. It's not like we have her at 310. So we don't have her like a down unit. Furthermore, the other sale that we have is like one of the only other sales that we actually have there, but it's well in excess of the subject property. And that one sold for $343. It's a bigger unit, got a better view, but when appropriately adjusted, still renders a value of $299. If you look at the median equity value for both those, for all 3 sales, it renders a value of $288 when compared with this. Moving on to equity, I believe both is,
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to equity, the equity grid shows us that you have 207, 207, 205, notice, and 208. Notice that all of those have the exact same square footage and the exact same value. From an equity standpoint, they're identical. Square footage, market value, they're identical. They're at 277, 980. So in both grids, the value that we have on 277, 980 is supported. And then there was a comment made that I don't know how we could sell this with all the trash around. Well, the very fact the one right below her is currently in the throes of closing is in direct conflict with that statement. What I would say is that, you know, from an equity standpoint, they're identical. I mean, it's right on where it should be. From a sales comparison approach, if you look at the one that's most congruent, it's in line with property, 274, 277. The other sales in the condominium complex, if you look at the average when adjusted appropriately for the subject, that renders a median value of 288. That supports the valuation. I mean, if anybody could make any kind of case for this property, the best case would be that, hey, this subject is most like comp number one, and that sold for 274. Okay, that's a $3,000 difference on a 277,000. I mean, that's like 1 point something percent. I mean, that's the best case scenario. That's all I got.
Okay, so ma'am,
Yes,
okay, so Laura, now you have 2 minutes to cross-examine and then 2 minutes for rebuttal.
okay. I mean, I guess the only thing that I can say about the 203 is, again, it's, you know, it's a first floor, it has the large deck, and the other two that Ray was talking about, in the 500 building, they're both on the end. The lower one has a deck, and they all have high-end things inside, and I know that doesn't come into account, but it really does. And then what about all the ones that have sold for 143, 175, 150? There's one on the market right now for $175,000 at 807 Sand Dollar. I mean, those are just my only issues that I have there.
Yeah, and those are great questions. I don't know if they were points, or if they were directed at me.
Well, yeah, they are. I mean, you know, that's what those sold for. Those are the same square footage, the same type of condos, 2 on the first floor, 2 on the second floor, and they range between 149 or 143 and 175. And there's one on the market at 807 Sand Dollar right now for 175. And it, again, is a first floor, has a large deck and a private boat slip. We're in the middle, and we just on the top, and we just don't have access like the other condos do. The middle condos, you know, they don't have a window. We have a very small, narrow deck, whereas, you know, even the top floors on the end, like 208, they have a big window on the side. We don't. We're just kind of sandwiched in the middle, and that little small narrow deck, you know, it's just not any comparison to the first floor condos that have brand new, large, wide decks. And you can park your boat right in front of your condo, whereas we can't.
Yeah, what I would say, those are great questions. So if you're bringing up we're looking at the imagery right now, and this is in your
Right.
your pictometry. So zoom out one time. So this is unit 1, 2, and then you get 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's come further. So 6, 7, 8. This is the very dredge of the Key Allegro. I mean, this is at the very end. I mean, to compare this to like the other, and for view amenity and everything else is just not the same. And so what I would say is that You know, the one that is most congruent is one, she's an up unit over here, and there's an up unit over here that's 274.
That's the building that's in, that 274 one?
Yeah, this is building 500 right here, and this is the subject right here. And you can make an argument that this view is even more superior than this view back here. And this one sold for 274. And the bottom unit over here sold for 310. So, I mean, that's what you got. It's not comparison, it's building 800 for sure.
So, Laura, did you have anything else at this point?
I wasn't quite sure what Ray was saying. What was he saying about the canal?
Oh, I was just saying that as far as comparison, yours is more comparable to building 500 than it is to building 800. 800 is way at the very end of the whole canal.
What difference does that make where it's located?
Okay. One of the very first, that's a great question. One of the very first principles of real estate is location and associated with view, specifically when you're on the waterfront. But that was a good question.
Okay, so, all right, so now the district has 2 minutes for rebuttal.
In rebuttal, what I would say is, again, this is attached in the evidence. It's pictometry imagery. You can see that the subject property has views, especially on the second floor to Little Bay. The comparisons that she gave for building 800, they have a view of the parking lot here and down the end of the canal. So people would say, what difference does that make? Yes, it makes a big difference in a marketplace. In all things given equal, 9 people would choose this one.
Which is 7.
This is 7, right? This is 7 right here.
That's 7.
So 7 or 8 are at the end, or 7. This is 8. I'm sorry, 7 and 8. This must be a different. This is at 8. This is 8. I'm sorry. 7 and 8 are at the end of the canal.
Right. But they all face the water. They're all on the water.
Yes, ma'am. They are. No doubt.
Okay, so now Laura, now you've got 1 minute for closing.
I mean, I don't, other than what I've already submitted and what I've said, these others, but that have sold for 140, 175, the one that's on sale for, for 175 now. I mean, I think you have to take those into consideration, and I just feel like the middle condo up to on the second floor just does not have the same value as a first floor and the second floor on the end, and I just think it's wrong to compare the 500 ones to our specific condo, because ours again is a rental, but has low end amenities inside, whereas the other two that sell for a lot more, they have higher end sectors. And you can't compare us to the townhouse. I mean, that's just, that's a townhouse. It's a 1,400 square foot townhouse.
Okay.
And that's just about all I have to say about all that. I think I pretty much went through everything I have.
Okay, all right, so now the district has 1 minute to close.
In closing, what I would say is that of the comparable sales, the two that are most congruent on the sales are Unit 500. Now, Unit 500 are the identical square footage. You even have a really good comparison with one that's up as opposed to one that's down. You're looking at that difference. But one could even make an argument that the subject property at unit number 200 even has a better view than 500. That's for the sales. As far as equity is concerned, they're identical to all those top units. They're 277,980, and they all have the identical square footage. So the district has made its case for both market and equity.
Okay, so now the appraisal review board has 5 minutes to deliberate and come up with their answer. If anything, it would be that.
Yeah, but if the market really shows that these in 7 and 8 are less valuable than the ones in 2, then it's justifiable difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they have. I mean, it's one of the biggest differences also, which nobody's mentioned, is that particular location, building 1 and 2 have face southeast. I mean, north and south.
Oh, so they don't.
So they
have
don't
this.
get the direct west sun. In fact, they don't get any west sun. It's only on an angle. And those of us who know west sun is a killer.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's a huge attribute that those 2 locations
Yeah.
particularly.
Okay.
So, the only thing I have a question about is putting it with the one that was in the building. I mean, I think the district has proven the value that they put on it is appropriate.
Make a motion.
All right, so I make a motion based upon what we heard from the district and from the property owner on account number 25318. Taking into consideration the possibility of an increment appraisal market value and the possibility of the appraisal ratio exceeding the median level of appraisal, that we leave value at $277,980.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you for participating.
Lori?
Hearing is
Yes,
closed.
sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you heard, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Hearing is closed. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. You guys have a good week. Bye. Bye.
And then on,
Is it phone or
This is just an
just go ahead
affidavit.
and hit apply.
which one is it?
Go to the-
It is case number 613.
613.
First one.
Okay.
And pull that open. We want to make sure that she's, hey, that bottom right one. That's okay. And then look at participants. I think it's only us at this point. Yeah, so yeah, we're good. So you can minimize that. Hey Val, come over here for this stuff. This is the very first supplement one.
Yes,
And so what are we using? 25,
4147.
4147? Yes. And just put A or B, just put per A or B order,
Oh,
just every
Kathy,
time,
we're doing the
because there'll be a
first
per A or B
one,
order.
on page 1.
And
I
that's
think
it.
I think it's just an affidavit.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's just saying that they denied it per the order.
Right, let me just make sure the value is good.
What's actually changing in the record
It's just
is
an affidavit.
this is A or B approved, and this particular one was in this section of A or B under review. And what you did
Okay.
is you moved it from here to here, so that's really what supplemented.
Do I need to print these letters still?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm gonna do.
Or does Beth print the letters at the end?
We do. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
you do, I don't have to do it anymore.
No, you don't.
Nice.
So we can go on to the next case then.
Okay,
So this is an affidavit, this next one?
Yes, and it's case number 613.
Thompson is the name.
Mhm.
If you want to look at
31369.
Thompson. I don't see Tom. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Only one box checked. Q01, Q1. Ready?
I am.
You are. You ready?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Opening a hearing on case ID 2020-613, account number 31369. This is an affidavit only case. This hearing is being recorded. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing the protest today. At the table is Robert Dayton, Cindy Duck, Kathy Hoffman, and Charlie Powers. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. Protester has the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to the protester with our determination. In accordance with tax code section 41.45H, all written material is assumed to have been provided with the affidavit. ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in the violation of tax code section 4166F.
I, Kathy Kaufman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Robert Dave, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath.
Hello, my name is Michael Soto. I do solemnly swear or affirm that testimony shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct. At this point, I'm going to read the property owner's affidavit of evidence. I do want to note for the record that the property notice of protest indicated incorrect appraised value. The property owner's affidavit of evidence indicates incorrect and equity, but the only thing is incorrect appraised value. There is a difference in the evidence from the protest form, but it's you should look at this in addition to what was presented in the evidence. So I'm going to read the property owner's notice of protest first, or summarize it because it's there for your purview. So this is the property owner's notice of protest. Go to the notice of protest as well on the images, Jackie. It says incorrect appraised market value. I've asked the appraisal district for information that will allow me to do 80% factor or 80. I can't even read.
Okay, it's definitely an F because it's the same as the F in information.
Fact check, maybe?
Factual?
Factual. To do 80 factual.
Or factor?
Will amend upon receipt. In person on written affidavit, Tommy Thompson. And then this is the what I wanted to summarize. This is the page that he has. Is that on the notice of protest?
This is all.
That's the affidavit of evidence. Can you pull up the images? That's upside down.
Yeah, it's all scanned different ways.
Okay, can you?
This?
Go into the, here, I'll show you. It's the, you normally wouldn't do this, but there are two different things that he says, and I don't want to misrepresent. Go into images,
Here.
protest, and then let's see that. Pull that over. So it says,
Wait, it won't let me.
appraisal district notices and 3 others, U.S. Mail, Olympic
It's
Drive.
not letting me. Just a second. I can't.
I can't. You have to close one or something?
Yeah.
You all got it. So Aransas County Tax Assessor, I'm filing a protest on value, supporting evidence and documentation. I'm going to summarize this. It's a long dissertation, but it's there for your perusal. I mean, you can read along.
There we go.
It says all comparables, parcels, and their addresses used in valuing this parcel, an itemized list of all improvement structures. This is what he wants from us. 3, an itemized list of all improvements, their structures, and their individual cumulative values up to last year's value of 256,1101 or 110. A clear and definitive itemized listing of all items and values that change from last year's value of improvements and this year's of 298. Any and all information that was deemed informative or helpful to me. All information intended to be used. In closing, I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, so he's just asking for the evidence in a clear and definitive way. There's a lot of legalese here, but he was given the evidence in advance of the hearing. All right, so I'm going to read the property owner's affidavit of evidence at this point. Tommy Thompson, Rockport Country Club, number 1, block 15, lot 4. The property ID is 3. This is weird. Are we not doing? Oh, we are. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was Racket Club. Okay. Account number 31369, incorrect appraised market value, unequal comparable to the property seen closed. The next page is, it says, I do not intend to appear at the hearing. Tommy Thompson before Jennifer Frost. The next page is our notice of appraised value. The page after that is our evidence sheet, which is the condo and the value, or not a condo, is the house, and it is currently appraised at 366,630. The next one is the equity grid. That's our equity grid over the next 2 pages, 3 pages. The next one is a detail sheet of the sketch of the subject property. The next one is our picto for the subject property. The next one is, first of all, the market value of the improvement, which depreciation not appreciated went up from 256 to 298, an increase of 42,140, and the land stayed the same. Question. Raising the total market value over 16%. I have 3 other residential properties in Aransas County, all in better condition than this one, enclosed, and went down in value 1,520. The second, 1,310, and the third stayed the same. That is consistent with our economy in this past year. Nothing is appreciated, and certainly not up 16%. This is out of whack. Stay informed, require equal and uniform. It's all there for you to read. Equal and uniform. Okay, point number 2, the land values of 68,380 is wrong. And this has began for a long time. So let's get it corrected. This is actually pointed out to me by Rockport Properties Estate and their computers. When talking to them about selling, one of the things they pointed out is that one of the smallest lots in Country Club with no backyard, no room for a pool. It is close to the club and all the noise activity. Now, when I asked for comparables, you gave me 5. They're all bigger and better lots in every way. Comp number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with their respective amounts there. This one is 68,300. And then the next page is the appraisal office also sent me a number of other country club properties. And the land is as follows. Again, this is the list. The next one, all of these land values show that 68,300 to be erroneous, out of whack. Do you see another 68,300? No. So what is fair? Let's start with the comparables supplied to me by the district. And he gives the 5 comparables. The mean is 50,800. The low is 41,800. All bigger and better, lots and better, more private locations, all 5 of them. Given the data supplied to me as an architect, a land planner, and as a developer, it would be 35,000, 45,000, say 40,000. Point number 3, covered porch does not exist. See your drawing enclosed. It shows a screen porch. It shows a covered porch at the entry, and it shows covered porches at the garages. It does not exist. And we've paid taxes all these years, just like a lot value. Sad face. Porch does not exist 1370. So I have given the facts and the figures, and I support what it said without any overbilling, as most do. Uniform and equal correct tax value that he purports is 226,250. Dear board, and he writes a dissertation, underline uniform and equal. Gives a phone number. thinks the value is 226,250. Gives the notice value associated with the yacht club. Another one on the yacht club. Another one on the yacht club. Okay. That's the evidence presented by the property owner through their affidavit of evidence. There was a lot there.
So he's got condominiums that he's saying are.
I think those were,
Club condominiums, he says, are
yeah,
comparables to his?
no, he said that he owned other property
Okay.
and he wanted to show that those didn't go up or went down.
Okay.
I think, because he said that in his statement.
Well, looking at the land card, if I'm seeing this right, it's a 12,432 square foot lot. That's a pretty good sized lot. I can tell you that is not the smallest lot in the country club.
But it's, I can tell you, it has a nice view, but it's
Yeah, it's right on
not, it's
the
not a
water.
great lot. That lot floods.
Yeah, it doesn't flood. I mean, it's right there on that
Occasionally.
pond. What a great view.
But she said.
It has a nice view. It is close to the country club.
All right.
I'll let you see it first.
So at this point, I'm going to go through my evidence and use the remainder of my time to try to answer questions about their stuff and my stuff. All right, the subject property, you can see that we currently have, we don't, like he indicated, we do have a screen porch. I don't know what he means.
Is he saying he does or does not have a screen porch?
He's saying he does not have a front porch.
No,
It
he
shows
does. He has a-
covered
he has a
porch and
beautiful back
garage
porch.
entry. It does not exist. So at the garage entry,
Yeah, but there is no porch in the front.
There's a porch in the front, by the front door,
Oh, that one porch.
for sure.
It looks like a.
And it looks like I'd have to bring up the sketch just to see. So that's, let's bring up the sketch. Let's go into the account and bring up sketch. Just, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, preview. So we have the front porch, which is right here. We have the screen porch we saw in pictometry. He's saying that this covered area does not exist over here.
I don't believe it does.
We can look.
I think you can just.
Just look on pictometry. Give me another angle. No. Yes, left. No. Just right up here. The left button.
that in the
I don't know. It's a
It's
little.
just a double garage.
That in the porch.
Yeah.
It's just a little overhang.
That
So,
didn't, so we should,
well, I would recommend deleting that little section.
Wouldn't be worth doing.
Let me go through my evidence here. The subject property sold for $364,500 before the storm. We currently have a value of $366,630.
wait, it sold for what? I'm sorry.
$364,500 back in May of 17.
Okay.
Okay. So what's happened since that time? Well, we've had some sales. Understand that this subject property is on the fairway. It's got 12,432 square feet. It's currently listed as a 6ST minus. It's on Olympic Drive, 109 Olympic Drive. Now we'll look for other comparable sales. This one's on Cedar Ridge, and that one sold for $371. This one on Cherry Hills sold for $439. Another one on Cherry Hills sold for $418, and another one on Olympic Drive sold for $390. So you can see we have one that's on Olympic Drive sold for $390. It's also a Class 6, but it's a 6 BB minus brick veneer rather than stucco. When appropriately adjusted, that kicks out a value of $347. When you look at the Cherry Hills in comparison, that's another 6 BV. That one kicks out a value of 404,510. When you look at comp number 2, Cherry Hills, that one kicks out a value of 465 when compared with the subject. And the one on Cedar Ridge kicks out a value of 362. The median value for all of those is 383,986. You'll look to see that the subject is pretty small in comparison to some of those other properties. It's 2611. And you can see that all of these others, with the exception of Olympic, and Olympic's a really good comp from the standpoint that they're both 6s. This one is at 2518 square feet rather than 2611. But those are all in the class 6. That one is on Olympic. It sold for 390. If you go on to, comp number 5, I forgot one. Comp number 5 is a lower class in the subject. It's almost the same size. It's a little bit bigger. It's 2727 and sold for 333. When appropriately adjusted with the subject property, it renders a value of 383. I'm sorry, it sold for 333, renders a value of 383. And that is the median value for the sales. As far as comp equity, we try to pull other 6 ST minuses, and you can see that comp number 1, comp number 2, comp number 3, and comp number 4 are all 6 ST minuses. Their respective values are: comp number 1 is 370,000, comp number 2 is 361, comp number 3 is 377, comp number 4 is 335. Respectively, moving back to comp number 1, when you move back and you look at when compared with the subject, those respective values are 373,000, 372,000, 363,000, and 365,000. Again, those are all 6 ST minuses. They range in sizes from 2,400 to 2,900. The subject is right in the middle at 2,600 and change. So from an equity standpoint, 369 is supports the valuation that we have on the subject property. I will say that the subject property owner has pointed out that one porch area needs to be removed. So let me show you which one that is, Jackie. That's going to be if we go into the property, let's delete the right one. You'll have to go to,
What would be?
which is the one he says, the 1280? I mean, the 1210 or the 1100?
I'll get it.
He said 1370.
If I take it off of here,
Okay, so that would be the 56 square foot area porch.
Okay, 56 square foot.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go back. It's the 1210.
this.
Go ahead and delete that. Yeah, just double click it. Yeah, that's the one that we need to delete.
It's not 1370, is that what you're saying?
But it's not highlighted for me to
It is
delete
the
it.
1370.
Oh, it is?
Go into the sketch again. I need to see that to see if it's truly 56. That sounds right.
One of them's 51, the other one's 51 square feet.
Can you make that bigger? That's a 3 by 51. Is that right?
That'd be 153 square feet.
Or is that 21? Because that number is 21 from here to here, so that number's got to be something less than 21.
What is it?
Try to pull it down on your screen and see if you can
Is it
see.
17? Is it this one?
Yeah, it's possibly 17.
Look at the front porch and see what it is. And If it's 56.
Pull it down, or just zoom in, go to zoom in, the plus, yeah, right there.
This one shows the front porch is 56, which would make that one 51.
Oh, that's 51, 17, that's what I was reading.
Got right there.
So that's the one we want to delete is the 51.
I need to go to last year, correct?
No.
Yay, Robert's
No.
I
eyes.
can't delete it, it won't let me.
Well, you can't
I can't delete it from here.
delete it until
Wait, get
the
it.
ruling, because we're already past certification. So I can tell you what the value would be. The value for that is $1,100.
So it isn't the 1370.
No, it's the
Mm-mm.
51 square feet. So it's $1,100. It's the 51 square feet is the one that we're dealing with right here.
Okay.
So $1,100 is what, I mean, for sure that should be removed. All right, so where are we at on the time? I guess it's gonna be y'all's time,
Can we,
unless you have any
can
questions.
you tell me the price per square foot of the land of 31,273?
Sure can. Just pull up another account, 31,273.
Adjacent.
Which one is that?
One just adjacent.
And just pull it up on the screen.
Do you remember what his was per square foot?
550.
550, thank you.
Just go right here. You go to market. 550.
Got it.
Okay, you can hit the light.
Okay.
The value currently assessed on the property is $366,630. I guess in closing, what I would say is that there is a warranted change of $1,100, which takes the value that the district agrees with.
355.
365, 530.
365,530 for sure. I don't have anything further unless you have any questions for me.
Can you show us an overhead, like I want to see which house that is.
Sure.
Like how it falls to
Just
the
zoom out like
neighborhood.
2 or 3 times.
You know where it is?
Not exactly. Is
You
it
drive
that
into-
first one that
drive
you
into the
see?
Country Club, it's the first house on the left-hand side.
Oh, okay.
Here's the pool.
It's right, you go past it's right across from the tennis courts.
Now I see, yes.
It's a nice house. I know the last time it was on the market, it took forever to sell it because of, it has good points and bad points for the location. It is close to the country club, has a great view, but it also has the country club and the tennis court, so there is that. Does not have a very big backyard in comparison, like the other property compared to one of the biggest in the States, double the size. Why? I don't know, you know, so that lot has pluses and negatives.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I drive, like, one of my best friends lives down further on that street, so I pass that a lot. And there is something about that makes it,
It's a nice looking house.
but I'm saying there's something about it
No,
that's negative, I mean, not negative, but
I don't see anything compelling reasons to change it except for the $1,100.
Yeah, I agree. It's a pretty large lot, I mean, 12,400 and something square feet, that's a.
It's equitable with its
Priced.
neighbors. It's 550.
It's a good sized house, like I said, it's a nice house. You know, I'm okay with leaving it where it is.
Okay.
With taking into consideration the.
Okay,
1100.
so on account number 31369, and taking into consideration the incorrect appraised market value, I make a motion that we lower the 2020 value on this total property to $365,530. Oh, I thought I said that,
Did you say that? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
I second that.
but did you second it, Robert?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Case closed.
What do we have?
We have it in person. He is very conscious about the COVID. I explained to him what our setup was. He almost tried to do a Zoom, but then didn't. But he is here and ready to go. It's case number 583,
10 o'clock docket,
10 o'clock docket.
Wait,
583.
we have no more 8:30.
8:30 is done.
8:30 is done.
Page 3 in the middle.
When you pull them on back, we'll put our masks on.
Okay, so I am gonna go get him now and get him processed through.
I don't
Yeah.
see any, I don't see any
We
evidence
don't
for,
get to say,
No, he doesn't have it.
we don't get to say that other one.
Oh. 10 o'clock.
Well, you don't get $1 then from me, Kathy.
do you need help with that?
Well, I think, I just do it on the
41 is,
hearing side, right? Because I can't adjust it right now. Right, I just put this
Dang,
number
we
here
did good
because I
getting
can't
through all
adjust
of
it
our
right now.
8:30s.
And I'll have to go back in. I just put ARB value. I noted this to
Mhm.
remove that. So that's it, right?
yeah, you do
Okay.
that and then go to,
Well, here, I need to do,
approved. Uh-huh. You have to change it in the account. Let me help you with that. Go into
so
the,
19.
just go to
you hear
supplement
them
property. Property,
Okay.
supplement
When you
property.
hear them coming down the hall, make sure you have.
Put it on. I will.
And then the 41, whatever you used right there.
Okay, and the one that we're hearing is which one?
And then
583,
porch, remove porch.
page 3, middle of the page.
Thank you.
You have your mask somewhere.
Coconut Ridge.
And then go into that property. That's all right.
I used to own a lot on Coconut Ridge.
You did?
And then go to
Yeah.
51 and just hit remove and then hit yes and then recalculate and hit
See, I
yes
get
and close it.
confused between Rattlesnake and Coconut Ridge.
Well,
and
they're all
You can
confusing.
close that.
It's
now.
like, people go, yeah, it's out, and I'm like.
And then now
so-
try to do your thing.
Because if I go
Hit
this
apply.
way, it's just, I just can't keep it straight. Because I don't go out there very often.
What was that?
65, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Now apply.
Did you
and
hit distribute?
especially lately, oh my goodness. It's all built up
Distribute.
out there now.
Here?
They got really slammed in the store.
Yes.
There's still a lot of holiday beaches.
This is the number.
This
that-
one right here.
Coconut Ridge Road itself, that's
And hit distribute.
on the water side.
Okay. And then hit apply.
Charlie, you're being awfully quiet.
There you
today.
go.
No. Okay.
You have to hit
What the heck
distribute.
was it? Oh, okay, got it.
Me?
So every time I have to do that.
What?
What is this number?
I'll try. Harder.
This is case number 583. The account is 16817.
I don't have any taxpayer evidence.
No, I don't either.
She said there wasn't any.
There isn't
Yeah, I asked, and she said there was not.
So it must be that he filed this online.
No, they can put their evidence in.
No, but still, because they're in the protest, the,
The form.
right. And
What-
I
What's
think-
in?
I think if it isn't in here, then that's an indication that they filed their protest online.
Is it Clark? Are we doing Clark?
Yes.
Yes.
It was an online
Yeah, it was. And they have first and second one checked.
Is that on Salt Lake?
Let's wait until they're in here and do our swearing in.
Coconut Ridge.
The layout when we get in. So here we are.
All right.
How you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Over here.
All set?
Okay.
Robert? All set?
I guess so.
Okay. We go. Opening hearing on case ID 2020-583, account number 16817. This hearing is being recorded. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing your protest today. We're the board, the four of us out here. Mike represents the district.
I'm Mike. I represent the district.
We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience. The survey may be completed using survey form and emailed to ptad.communications@cpa.texas.gov or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary, but we do appreciate you taking it. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. In accordance with tax code section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. You have no written material to enter in the system, is that
No,
correct?
sir.
Okay. Thank you. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. Robert?
You will, if you will, state your name, and this statement is also written large
Okay.
right there, but if you'll state it out loud.
I do solemnly swear or affirm that this testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Mike?
My name is Michael Soto. I do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Robert, do you hold an appraiser license in the state of Texas?
No, I do not, sir.
Thank you. On the tape down on the table over there is a chart with 4 columns on it. That's the procedure that we're going to be following during the hearing. You get to choose whether Mike goes first, the district goes first, or you speak first.
I'll allow the district to go first.
Okay, Mike?
Okay, the district is going to present evidence for 16817. Let's see, in 2019, we did not have the subject as complete. Now we have it as complete. We currently have, the other one, Jackie. We currently have the value at $340,790. Have it as a class 5 FB plus. And you can see on the next page, the 2 things under protest is incorrect appraised market value and value is unequal compared with other properties. So we're going to go over both those grids. Now, obviously, out there, there's been some sales. They're in different places. They're in different locations, but they're all appropriately adjusted when compared with the subject. The subject is 1,244 square feet, originally built in 2018. Like I said, it wasn't finished until sometime after January 1st of 19. The sales respectively are on 7 Clam, it sold for $380. 103 Linda, it sold for $417. The next page is 401 Copano Ridge, that sold for $345. 94 Copano Ridge, it sold for $340. And 462 Copano Ridge, it sold for $265. You can see, we go back, start at comp number 1 again. You can see when appropriately adjusted with the subject property, they rendered values at 356, 358,000, 288, 209, and 255. The median value for all of those, or I'm sorry, comp number 5 is 378. The median value that's reported is 356,984, which supports the value that we have on the subject property. Again, these are other sales in and about that Copano Ridge area. You can see that we try to pull comps that were in that 5FB classification, just like the subject. They're going to have different sizes. They're going to be, bigger. Some of them are bigger. Some of them have different land attributes that have either plus or minus adjustments based on their location. The next thing under protest is the comp equity grid. Now for comp equity, again, we're still trying to use that 5FB classification just to compare it with other properties that are in that same classification. You can see that the values respectively for comp number 1 is 354,000. When adjusted appropriately with the subject, it renders a value of 347 and change. Comp number 2 is currently assessed at 328. When appropriately adjusted with the subject property, renders a value of 346. And then comp number 3 is a value that renders at 354 at the end. Can you make that bigger one time, Jackie? Yeah, 347,106, which again supports the valuation that we have on the subject property at 347,90. Followed up with that, you'll see it's just the sales ratio report. And this is just the sales ratio report for all of the sales in that Copano Ridge area. If you can zoom into that area, let's see, what does that say? That's 97% on weighted mean overall. And that's all the evidence that the appraisal district has.
Okay, so, are you Robert or are you Bob?
I go by Bobby,
Okay, Bobby, okay.
but I am Robert.
Okay, all right, so Robert, you get 2 minutes to cross-examine and then your 5 minutes to present, okay? So a total of 7 minutes.
Right. Can it be together?
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
In other words, can
They can
some of
run
the
together.
costs go into the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm sorry, sir, I did not get your name.
My name is Mike Soto.
Mike, do you mind if I call you Mike?
Sure, yeah.
Mike, have I ever spoken with you before?
I don't recall.
I don't believe we have.
Okay.
The sales information that you presented, where did you obtain that?
We typically obtain that through sales questionnaires, buyer and seller questionnaires. Sometimes we look at MLS data before the sale because we don't get the MLS sales. So we look at listing information. Sometimes it's deeds or deeds of trust. Those are the sources that we use.
Okay, and specifically on the ones that you presented to the board, where did you get them?
I'd have to investigate that, sir. I can do that for you right now if you'd like.
Well, I think
Well,
due to the time constraints, we're probably going to have difficulty doing that.
But I did testify of the types that we
Right,
received.
and when you say appropriately adjusted, what do you mean?
Okay, that's a great question. The subject property, if I can get up here, is that going to
Sure.
be too close for you? Okay. I just want to point out that that's a great question. So there's adjustments associated within each class or maybe the effective age. So So when I say appropriately adjusted, it's the adjustment that's congruent with a comp as it relates to the subject. So this is a really good example. So your land value here is 145. The land value for this sale is 131 or 113. So there's a plus adjustment to make it like yours. Okay, this one is an effective age grid. So the subject is newer than the comp. So this adjustment makes it like yours. Having said that, this comp is bigger than yours, so there's a negative adjustment to make it like yours. So when I say appropriately adjusted, it's looking at all of these specific elements and then puts a net adjustment at the bottom.
Okay. And when you're talking about the sales ratio, I noticed that was a very long spreadsheet that you had presented to me previous, or somebody had.
Yes, sir.
Prior to the hearing.
Yes, sir.
I noticed that a lot of the information is from Zillow.
That's correct.
And you understand what Zillow is, do you not, sir?
I did. I said listing. We're looking at listings.
And that's just what people are asking for the property.
That's correct. And we have some really good historical data to know what the last list price is in relation to the sale. We have a pretty good understanding of what that relationship is.
Well, how do you know what the last list, in other words, you compare the last list price to the current list price?
The last list before it's sold, yeah, we have a pretty good understanding of what that sale is.
Okay. Now, with regard to the subject property, 107 Coconut Ridge Road, you do understand that, and I think whomever I spoke with at the board who offered me the compromise, which was exactly what the tax appraisal was, indicated that they did not realize that on December 31st, 2019, the house was about 99% finished. And yet, the previous years was something like, I think it was $130,000. You probably have that information.
181 was the total value last year.
Right, with a land value of $94,620, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And then the current year, it went up to 195,000 and 145,000. Is that correct?
Improvement 195 and land 145.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So the value went up some from 195 to 132, from 132 to 195. Is that on the improvements?
I have the improvements prior year value at 86. So it went from 86 to 195 is what I show.
Which was, quite a bit more than twice as much.
Yes, it looks that way.
Right. And when you are taking into consideration the value or the appraisal, do you take into consideration the location of the house in relation to the city limits?
We do. If it has an effect on value, we certainly do.
And is it the appraisal board's opinion that being outside the city limits has no value on the, as opposed to a location within the city limits in that particular area?
Yeah, and so what I would say is that we have not seen a value modifier for delineation along the city limits in that area.
Well, who provides you with value modifiers?
We develop schedules based on market data.
Who is we?
The appraisal district. I'm the appraisal district representative, and the appraisal district does what we call reproducible appraisal methodology, in which we say, hey, this house is in this classification and it's in this location. Those are the main two things of value. One is location. You've always heard that real estate terms, location, location, location. And the second is what's on that location. What are the elements there? What's the classification of the home?
And I appreciate that. So I guess it's the appraisal district or board's opinion that somebody that has access to city water, city sewer, gas, city protection does not have any bearing on somebody who does not in that particular area.
Yeah, that we have not seen a paired sales analysis that gives us a value modifier that says, hey, over here, this is selling for X number of dollars more or percentage more. We don't have that analysis.
And I understand you haven't done that analysis, you don't have that analysis. Are you saying that that does not affect the value of the land?
A devoid of any paired sales analysis makes us not want to move it either way.
Okay.
Okay, and so
All right,
you ran out of your time.
I understand.
Okay, so the district gets 2 minutes to cross-examine and 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Just want to verify that the subject was complete on January 1st of 2020.
No, it was completed on about a week later. The certificate of completion is within that month anyway. I've got it in my briefcase, but I don't have that date right out here in front of me.
Sure.
But I can get it to you if you want.
No, that's okay. That's the reason for the question. Do you mind telling us what was deficient on January 1? Not complete?
Just the contractor getting in there and finishing up, little things. I
Just
mean,
little
the house was in essence completed. I could have slept it on January 1st. I mean, electricity was hooked up. I can't remember whether they'd already put in the appliances. But for all intents and purposes, it was habitable.
Okay. Well, that's what we have, is we have it as complete. If you want to go through those line items, we could do that.
Oh, no, you're talking about on January 1st, 2020?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, it was complete. We moved in and I'm sorry, I was thinking 2019.
I'm sorry.
No,
sir.
it was absolutely complete on January 1st, 2020. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, misunderstood the question.
Not a problem. Moving on, I guess what I'd like to say in rebuttal is that there's two things under protest. One has to do with market value. This was an area that experienced change. Obviously, you can see that from the land adjustment, but these are real sales that are occurring in and about the subject property owner's area. You'll know, I believe that Clam is also going to be on, so you're overlooking Salt Lake, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so the subject is overlooking Salt Lake. This comp number 1 is overlooking Salt Lake as well on Clam. And you can see that it's older than the subject. It's bigger than the subject. About the same classification, one's fiberboard as opposed to regular standard siding, but sold for $380. Again, when appropriately adjusted, purports a value of $356. You can see that in these sales, the median value supports the value that we currently have on the property. And furthermore, when you're looking at the equity grid, again, we're trying to find other properties that are newish in nature. You can see that the comps that we got are all 2018. They're all 5 FB pluses, so there's really high congruency there. And we just look at the comparison. We look at all the differences between those. And even on that value, that median equity value supports the value that we currently have at 340 because the median value is 347. Again, these are all properties. They're all 5 FBs pluses. They're all the same year built. All of the elements are appropriately adjusted. And again, it gives us a value of 347. When you couple that with the information that we have on the sales ratio report of, how are we appraising as a whole in that area, in Copano Ridge, that general area, I think that weighted mean showed us 97%. So, I mean, all of those things in concert with one another points to the fact that the subject property is appropriately appraised. And that's all we got.
Okay, so, sir, you now have 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Thank you, ma'am. And with regard to what you mentioned on Salt Lake, and and let me be clear to the board and to you, I'm not really protesting the improvements value. My concern is the huge increase in the land. That's my concern.
Sure.
And what I have noticed in reviewing your evidence and reviewing the appraisal district's appraisals is that along Salt Lake, there's about 8 or 10 lots in a row that have all gone up to the land value that is attributed to me, to my land. And that is 145,000 and change. Now, that is something like a 65% jump in 1 year. And it does not take into consideration, actually, some of the homes on the other side of Coconut Ridge that front on Coconut Bay as opposed to Salt Lake, which I think everyone would agree with me that fronting on Coconut Bay is a more desirable location than fronting on Salt Lake. Maybe you can't agree to that, but that's my opinion. Some of those have the same value. And what I'm saying is that apparently that y'all took just an arbitrary number and just went on down the line and gave everybody the same amount, regardless of whether it was fronting on Salt Lake or whether it was on Coconut Ridge. And basically, it's my position that when you go up 65% in 1 year, you got to have more than just, oh, we just decided to make all those lots the same, which is some of the reasoning that I've heard previously. And I know that's not evidence, but and it's hearsay as well. But that's what I was told when I tried to get some relief on this.
Sure,
And,
sure.
So basically, I'm not concerned about the improvements appraisal. I think y'all are spot on there. And this is more in the matter of closing as opposed to rebuttal. I just need some relief on the land value.
Yeah.
And I don't think that when you look at those lots, and I don't know if you have that information before you, but there's probably, and I can't tell from this, but you see the curve where 65055 is in the middle?
Where are we at on time?
Well, what we need to do is, because you still, okay, your rebuttal time is over, and then the district gets a minute, and then you get a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, what I would say is that the ARB can do investigation on, they can ask, basically they can look at any record and say, hey, what is that price per square foot? Or they can compare. But, you know, as far as the arbitrary, there is no arbitrary. There's very thoughtful consideration to a reproducible methodology for the purpose of equity, meaning that we're going to apply either the same price per square foot or the same price per lot or the same price per front foot. And it depends on the area, but we're going to apply that reproducibly, meaning that this one should be like this one, or you should be able to see the logic behind that, behind why those values are what they are. So we should be able to go to the neighbor to your left and the neighbor to your right and see what those values are. It's not presented as my evidence because I know that my schedules are built that way, but this board can look at that if they wanted to.
Okay, so sir, now you get 1 minute for your closing.
Well, in closing, I would just say that the lots that the appraisal district, that those 7 or 8 or 9 lots that are in different sizes and have different types of houses on them are all set, the land value is all set at 145,000 and change. And that's the way it is, and that's not accurate. And what you're saying is it doesn't make any difference whether that's accurate. We make adjustments for that with land improvements. Well, that's not the way it's presented to me, and I can't argue with the improvements value, but I can argue, and I do argue with raising the land value 65% in 1 year, and that's my beef in essence.
Okay.
All right, so now, the appraisal review board, we get 5 minutes to deliberate and,
I have one
Discuss.
question. The property here, the land is being assessed on a lot basis, correct?
That's correct.
145. Can you show me the land of 16762, please?
yeah, that's one of the ones I had written down. That's across the street.
This is across the street.
Yes.
That's across the street. The land value there is 154,390.
How much
Lot
is it per
basis?
square, is it lot or per square foot?
No, this one's on a square foot basis right here.
And it came to what?
154 and change.
It's roughly the same size from pictometry.
Okay, and can we look
That
at
makes-
two other ones?
That makes sense, that the ones on,
It's on
The
the,
other
on the
side.
base side.
it's on the base side, is slightly higher than the ones on the Salt Lake. I
You wanna
mean,
look at a couple other ones on,
Yes, I want to look at 57565.
Is that on the same side or on the other side?
Other side.
Got a market value there. That's at $26 a foot, and square foot, it's 164.
Yeah.
But there's also, it has excess land that's like, not as much. Meaning that one's a particularly big lot, I think.
And then, lot number 16809.
Would it be possible for y'all to correlate addresses? Because I'm not familiar with y'all's numbers.
Waterfront.
We don't know the addresses either, we just,
Well,
This one's on a lot value. This must be next door or?
It's down a ways.
Yeah, this is 145, just like the subject.
okay.
So there's consistency here.
I don't have any other questions, do you? Does anybody?
No, I don't have any more questions.
Charlie?
Good.
So the whole neighborhood is on a lot, as far as being on the Salt Lake.
Salt Lake is on a lot basis.
I mean, so, I mean, it would have been that way when anybody purchased there too,
Sure.
right?
It was.
I think we're good where we are.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So on account number 16817. As far as taking into consideration the possibility of incorrect appraised market value and the possibility of the appraisal ratio exceeding the median level of the appraisal, I make a motion that we keep the same value for 2020 at $340,790.
Second,
She seconded.
you second? All in favor? Okay.
thank you for your time.
Now, Mr. Clark, I just want you to know, we don't know those addresses. We just see those little numbers. So it isn't that we weren't telling you. I have no idea. We just see the number up there to ask.
Well, and I'll just make this as an aside, and I appreciate y'all's time and your service. These hearings are supposed to be open, and I understand that, we've got COVID-19 going, but had I been here and been able to observe this, I might have been a little bit better prepared to be able to show you that even though these are on a lot basis, they're all different sizes of lots.
Yeah.
And so, when you make them all the same, $145,900 or whatever it is, that doesn't pass the smell test in my mind. And so anyway, I couldn't respond. I could respond by addresses And there's, I will say, that, well, you've got an address right there, which is probably one of the numbers y'all looked at. So the addresses are there, but anyway.
Okay,
But I appreciate it. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
hearing is closed.
Thank you for participating.
You bet.
And sir, and just kind of informational, these are open from the standpoint that we project everything on YouTube. They're live streamed through Zoom. Anybody can attend that way. We actually have that information for each agenda. We actually give the links and everything on our website. I'm sorry that you didn't feel like it was open, but we are trying to be very precautionary when it comes to COVID. I'm sure everybody in the room appreciates that.
Well, I do too, and I really do appreciate y'all.
Thank you, sir.
And I wish I had known that they were being broadcast or on YouTube. Are they on YouTube?
Yes, sir. They're on both. They're on Zoom and YouTube. They're Zoom.
They stream live?
Yeah, well, there's about like a 12-second delay or something like that. Yeah.
It is essentially live.
Pardon?
It is essentially live stream.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, I just didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take care.
You have a good day.
Thank you. I'll stay safe.
On an aside, I want y'all to know that I had my PVS appeal, PVS, Property Value Study Comptroller for 19. Remember how they said I was too low? And we actually had an appeal meeting, and they're gonna send me the paperwork, but it looks like we passed. So that was really good. Just by the skin of our teeth.
It's okay, it's all it takes.
Very thankful for that, I'll tell you that.
So that's based upon what's already been done.
The 19 was the comptroller's review or test or check on the districts across the state. They take half the state and then the other half the state each alternating year. And in 2019, it was our year. You know, we're on the 2019-21 schedule, 23 schedule. So that's how they test us every second year. And each intermediate year, they test us for the map review.
To this day.
The comptroller. Yeah, property tax assistance division.
Or
That was the
this county,
2019.
or Aransas County, or from the state.
The comptroller is a state agency,
State.
and they test every appraisal district in the state. So
So that was 2019 though.
they said we
You don't
were
have-
too low in
right, You don't
19.
get assessed this year.
You were too low.
They said we were too low in 19.
But in actuality, when they tested it, you weren't.
They said we were too low, but we had to
Well,
appeal
do we have
and
anybody
show
else
why
out
we
there?
weren't too
Yes.
low.
I'm getting ready to bring in,
Got
we
it.
got two
Now it
more in
makes sense.
persons
And it was
on the 10
it was
o'clock.
very close.
Two more
It was just a-
With the hurricane? Oh my
Yes, and
gosh.
I don't think anybody else
well,
has
it's
checked in,
it's
so
just
I
information.
think that'll be it for
Yeah.
this morning.
It was good. It was a good day. It was a good day.
They're here?
But, I don't have the
They're all
paperwork yet,
here.
but I
They're
should have it
Yes.
soon.
So did you do it on Zoom or did y'all go there or they
Yeah,
come
it was
here?
on Zoom. It was called WebEx, but yeah, something like this. We did that on Friday. It was a big win. Gosh, I was so relieved to hear that information.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Otherwise,
good.
what do they do if you don't?
Well, they would have tested us again in 20 in the intermediate year. And that's the one where if they do it 3 consecutive years and you don't pass, then that's where remember years ago where the school wrote a big check? That's real stuff. I mean, real big, reactions.
It means you owe money?
The school would owe money, yeah. So in any case,
That's awesome. And I mean, because I'm nervous because I have to do something on Zoom that definitely it would be better to do face to face. And so that's the part, but you didn't find that to be a problem.
I underlined it 3 times, the next one.
Okay, thanks.
I didn't. I think it's, in fact, maybe it's just the opposite. From the standpoint that you could still give your projection, but you're not in the room with the person maybe, and you don't, the only thing that you lose from that is all the direct human health, like just the way a person looks or looks to somebody else, and you're not able to see all those interactions. Like, you know, is that a good point or not a good point? Should I press this point? Should I not press that point? So you don't get any of those clues. Otherwise, it's better from the standpoint that you're a little more methodical and disengaged. You're not, it's not that you're disengaged, disengaged is not the right word, it's just you're methodical.
You probably stay more on track because you're not, like you said, you're not reacting, you're just presenting what you have.
Yeah, it's possible that that's the case, yeah. They're just different, they're different. Is this an in-person or is this
No, they're coming in.
Stupid mask. Stupid mask. Save your life. Save your life.
Okay, so is it 1210?
Yeah, case 1210.
Turned the power off on the docks over in Rockport Harbor when the water went over the walkways.
Why did you get phone?
It was annoying.
I don't know if you knew this, but just.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
You'd know who it was.
Yeah, I didn't know very well.
Okay.
All right, mask it up.
And then you're gonna sit at a table that is to the right.
Right here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right. Oops, did I pass out the wrong one?
1210.
1210.
Top 10,
Is that who it is?
no, I passed out the wrong one, sorry.
2106.
Which is
Did
it?
I get Canal House? Wait, I can't afford the tax on that one.
Okay,
Which one is it?
Not 1210?
it's not 1210.
Which case is it?
It is going to be
Two.
case 1693.
1693?
Our roads.
On the fourth page.
Oh, I see.
I am so sorry.
It's right under the
Yes, it is.
one that it isn't. Okay,
Our roads. Got it.
yeah. So you are Andrew Kane? Okay. Okay, Andrew, we got some administrivia to go through before we get started, so just bear with me for a while. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Opening a hearing on case number ID 2020-1693, account number 20353. This hearing is being recorded. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing your protest today. Scattered around the room here is the appraisal review board. Mike is representing the district. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience. The survey may be completed using a survey form and emailed to ptad.communications@cpa.texas.gov or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary, but we do appreciate you taking it. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. In accordance with tax code section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. Do we have all your evidence in the system, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. the ARB members who are considering a protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 4166F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath.
Mr. Kane, if you will state your name and then read this, it's what you signed here.
Andrew Kane, I do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
My name is Michael Soto. Do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Or do you have a license as an appraiser in Texas?
Thank you.
Okay. Take to the table over there is a chart, 4 columns. It's a procedure that we use to run the hearing. You get to choose whether the district goes first or you go first.
I'll go first.
Okay, you have 5 minutes, and we'll follow that column.
Okay. So I built this house. I finished it February of last year. So of course, when we did our evaluation of January 1st last year, the appraisal district, had me at 100% done when I wasn't done. So I came down here and met with one of my associates here that actually got it in the house. We reviewed the house, measured it, and did all that. And he came to a value here, which is in y'all's evidence, that at 75% complete, my improvements were at $178,000. And then when we were discussing that, he said, so we don't have to come back again this year. If we can agree that at 75% your improvements are worth $178,000, and that would be 75%. He goes, the next year with your lot, we can agree on $289,000. He goes, so let's go ahead and agree on this, Andrew, so you don't have to come do this again. It's time crunch. That's okay. Well, that sounds fair, but if I add 25%, it's really $278,000. He's like, well, let's assume $289,000 because there's going to be some appreciation. So last year we agreed when I walked out, because of the 75% complete being $178,000, that my total value with a lot would be $289,000 this year. But y'all took the $178,000, it was 75% complete. Instead of adding 25% to get to 100, you added 50% to it, which came as a shock to me because it wasn't what we agreed on last year either. So that's a basis for saying, I think some of my evidence that I thought the house was $289,000 because that's what we agreed on. Going off last year's value of the improvements, it'd be at $278,000 this year, $279,000. So I don't want to get too deep into the woods on this, but if you look at my neighbors, I know I'm newer, but my neighbor on the left is 252 and they're larger. I'm 1,700 square feet. They are around 2,000. The neighbor on the right, yeah, they're 1914 and they're 252 all in with the land. All of our lots are the same, so that's indisputable. So with the improvement, so my neighbor to the left is 252 and they're a couple hundred square feet bigger. The neighbor to the right is 191, I guess. That'd be David. Yeah, 191. And again, he's bigger with 2,000 square feet. I know I'm a little bit newer than them, but they're in the 100s and they're my neighbors on both sides of me. I'm not on the Canal Street, so I don't have that issue. Then I looked at, well, let's see if I was worth this much at 75%. Why didn't we just add 25%? Why are we adding 50% to that value, which is a lot for 1 year? Then I look at this lot on, it's Warren's house. He's a friend of mine. So his taxes went down this year. Then I checked the mayor who's neighboring me. His taxes went down this year. So I was brought those two in from Warren and Pat Rios's because they're in the same neighborhood as me and their taxes didn't go up between last year and this year. They came down. And mine went up, not just 25% we agreed on, went 50%. I just was wanting to understand the reasoning of that, especially when we had came to agreement on it last year. I know I paid for it, and that's what we got to last year. It just seems a 50% increase on the improvements is really high when we agreed with 75% of a certain value. Does that make sense? That's, you know, I want to be fair, and I can't sit here and tell you I can't afford these taxes, because I can. But I just want to be fair to my neighbors. If I'm at an inflated price, it's going to affect them, and they're both retired next to me. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so now the district gets 2 minutes to cross-examine
Yeah,
and then 5 minutes to present.
Yeah, the cross-examine time, I mean, I don't have, obviously, if it was in a state of not completion last year, you know, we would have had a value that's less. What I can see right now, if you're looking at the card, is that in addition to not only the 25% that's the completion of the property, but then there was a neighborhood factor just due to sales that had occurred. So there's 110% on top of the improvement value. So the 237, that's an additional what, 24,000 bucks. So the 28 or whatever you said plus the 23, that's somewhere in the $50,000 range. So that's probably the difference. You could see on that neighborhood factor right there is 110%. So that was placed, you know, I don't know the conversations that you had. I do know that neither yourself nor any member of the district does not have the ability to project a value for next year. I mean, they don't have the authority to like say, hey, you're going to be certified next year at this price. You can't do that because every year sits on its own merits. Having said that, what you're affirming to me through a conversation sounds like something that somebody would say, hey, you're going to add an additional 25%. They couldn't possibly foresee what the effect of a market value just due to sales in that neighborhood. They couldn't possibly foresee that was going to go to 110%, or it could be 107 or 115. We just don't know until we actually do the analysis for the sales in the future year. And that's all I have for the cross at this point. Well, no, I'll use some more of my cross time. Let's see, the neighborhood that was increased was the 2443 dry neighborhood. So the ones that were increased at 110% were only the dry lots. So we can look at what are the ones you looked at, the mayor and
in Warren, because they both have large garages,
Okay.
covered patios.
Let's look at Warren and so, or let's look at either one of those accounts. Can you tell me
One of them is on the water.
Rios?
Warren is Rios.
Let's just look at Warren. If you just go to the pictometer, I can show you where it's at. I like Mr. Kane live in this neighborhood as well. So the subject is right up here. So zoom out twice. That's good, right there. The one in question is right here, 20480. And I just want to point out that that's probably on a different table. Go to print preview.
See on the Canoe Lake deal?
No.
It's on the end of
Better.
Turkey Day.
Yeah, you can see that there's no neighborhood adjustment, but the land value is quite a bit more. It's 270,000. So we see differences. People are paying more to be in Harbor Oaks, but to just be in Dry, they're paying more than they would, let's say, in Fulton or some other place. And we're only doing the reaction that's necessary for the market sales transactions. So I'm going to go into my evidence on the reason why, why do we have the sales that we have? And from an equity standpoint, is the subject property being treated like its neighbors? So you'll see on the comp sales grid, one of the reasons that we increase the value is comp number 2 on Crescent Drive. You can see that that's got that code, that dry code. That one sold for $365,000. It's also a class 5, a little bit bigger than the subject. but also it's a little bit older than the subject. When appropriately adjusted, that renders a value of 383 and change. Comp number 1 sold for 372. When appropriately adjusted with the subject, has a value of 358. Comp number 3 is on Encina Drive. That one sold for 250. Now this is a dry lot as well, but it also has that little boat slip thing. This one's much older than the subject. It's smaller than the subject. It sold for 250 is what we show. When appropriately adjusted, renders a value for the subject of 306. The median value for those sales support the value at 358 because or support a value of 358, and the subject is only assessed at 317 and change. This is, in my opinion, the more weighty of the two grids, and the reason for that is like, how is he appraised according to his neighbors or other properties that are dry? And you can see that the codes at the top, for the first two, you can see that they're identical codes, which means that they're going to be on that 2443 dry table. And these first two comps are also 5 FP pluses, just like the subject. You can see that the first one is assessed at 291. Again, a little bit older than the subject. When appropriately adjusted, renders a value of 321 and change. The next one is 309. Again, a little bit older than the subject, a little bit bigger than the subject. Renders a value of 333 when compared with the subject. The next one is on Encina Drive. Again, this is a dry house. It's also a 5 FB, a little bit older than the subject. When compared with the subject, renders a value of 308. So again, in looking at these sales, just for equity, we took other 5 FB pluses in the neighborhood that were dry, and then just looked at the differences in sizes or effective ages. Of course, their garage value has weight. The size of the lot or the value of the lot has weight. You can see on the first two of those, the land value is very close to the subject. In fact, one of them, I guess, is right next door. It's 2110.
Two down.
Two doors down, 2110, the exact same land value as the subject. Again, even that one, when appropriately adjusted, renders value of 331. So again, the 321, 877 supports the value that we have at 317, 460. So in both grids, you can see from a sales comparison standpoint and an equity standpoint, it supports the value that we have on the subject.
Okay, so, sir, now you get 2 minutes for cross-examine and then 2 minutes for rebuttal. So 4 minutes.
Right. No, it's just, I don't understand how, I guess there were more sales in the lower end. You talk about the dry houses, but Harbor Oaks is Harbor Oaks. And I've got neighbors that are decreasing in value and some that are increasing in value. You know, I mean, I think you're drilling down too deep into houses. When you mentioned these two that are, you said they're older than mine. I mean, we were building at the same time. So I don't think it's fair to say I'm newer than them when we were actually in the dirt at the same time. Harvey kind of affected everybody's schedules a little bit. And I had some construction issues is why I had to, take a little longer to get built. Actually framed that house, knocked it down, framed it again. So, I mean, I'm gonna hang my hat on. It is what it is. And when I came in and at 75% the house is worth this, if you take it to 100% of 279, and it went from 75%, instead of taking 25%, we had a 50%. It just, and when I've got neighbors in Harbor Oaks that are going down in value, I just don't understand it. I mean, I guess you can find a house here and a house there and say, well, then I've gone up 25% more on top of the 25% to complete. It just doesn't seem fair that others are going down and I'm going up because of a couple sales. But at the end of the day, it's a 1,700 square foot house without a view, without canal. If you put a $2,000 house, a $200,000 house on a $50,000 lot, and a $200,000 house on a $200,000 lot, that house is worth more on that better property with a better view than it is off and with location. And I'm actually in, one of the not as desirable areas of Harbor Oaks. And when you put two equal houses that worth the same value, you drop one on my lot, you drop one in Canal, the value of that structure is worth more, even though the lot's worth more, because it's just more desirable. And I think we're close on what we agree the house is worth. I mean, I paid 48 for the lot at the 56. That's gone up 20% in a year and a half. That's a lot too. I mean, if you talk sales, I paid 48 for that lot a year and a half ago. And that's a real number. We're going to use real numbers. You couldn't sell it at 55. So that's it. I'm not trying to get too, just trying to speak with a little bit of confidence I can come up with.
Okay. All right, so now the district has a 2-minute rebuttal.
Yeah, in rebuttal, what I would say is that the difference in that situation, although it sounds logical to say, okay, I take this house, it's worth 200, and I put it on this lot, and it's worth 50, that's 250. And I put it on this lot, and it's worth 200 plus 200 is 400. But you said that this is worth more. Sometimes that's the case, and sometimes it's not. What's happening specifically in Harbor Oaks is that when we put it on this lot, people are paying more than the sum of A plus B. They're paying C plus. They're paying something more. And the reason for that is there's a higher competition at this price point, meaning that more people can afford the 250 to 350 home than they can the 550 to 750 home. And that's just a reality. I mean, you automatically cut out of the 100 possible potential buyers, you've already cut out a whole bunch. Everybody that can afford the $750,000 home can afford the $350,000 home. They have that ability. So they're in this competition pool over here, as opposed to the other way around. Not everybody that can afford the 350 can actually get into the 750. So sometimes the market it actually tells us where those points are. And so all we did is we placed it on the dry only because that's where the competition is fierce right now in Harbor Oaks. I mean, if you ask yourself a question, it's a brand new house or fairly new house, and it's 317 in a very nice, well-established neighborhood in Rockport, in Harbor Oaks. I mean, that's a pretty nice prize right there. And so, and that's evidenced by some of the other sales that you see. Like what I would say is that if you go to the sales grid, Jackie, if you go to the sales grid, go back up. One of the ones that you can see that on is on Crescent Drive. Now that's a really good example because that's a dry house. That code at the very top indicates that that's a dry house sold for $365. Yeah, it's bigger than the subject, but it was originally built in 1978. I mean, come on.
Okay,
I
so
get 5 seconds to no.
now you get 1 minute.
Okay.
You get 1 minute for closing.
Okay, so let's also look at the situation we were in and when that house sold in 2019. When my house got demolished after the hurricane, I'd have paid 150% of the value just so I could have a home. There's an artificial factor that was messing with the market and lowering homes because there was no place to live. So prices, people were willing to overpay to have a home today. And I tried that. And it was an artificial market at short term because there was just a need for housing. I mean, after Harvey 18, 19, there was a need for housing. There wasn't anything, people's houses weren't rebuilt yet. People were hesitant to buy into the house that just got remodeled. And so, yeah, I mean, the market got pushed because of supply and demand, but that's not going to hold. That was a short-term market factor from the storm and the lack of housing and the need for housing. So, yeah, there was competition on anything that was livable and people were willing to overpay. There's one whole truth to that.
And so now the district.
Yeah. In closing, what I'd say is both of our grids support the value that we currently have. In rebuttal to the last thing he said is that, that whole scenario holds true in the fall of 17 when there was a very definite market declination for the number of viable units. What we're looking for in sale comp number 2, I mean, we're 2.5 years past the sale and we're actually, 2 months from the appraisal date of January 1 of 2020. That's a current market. I mean, I don't know what you're pointing to, but that 2019 sale that's a current market as of January 1 of 2020. I mean, that's what's going on right now in Harbor Oaks. So it's not the little bubble thing that you're talking about. What I would say is that our market value and our equity value support the valuation on the subject property.
Okay, so now the appraisal review board gets 5 minutes to discuss.
Let me just go through a little bit of arithmetic with you.
Sure.
In 2019, it was, the improvements were 178,050. If I take the 25% off, or the degradation, I get 237,400. If I then take the 237,400 and add the 10% neighborhood to it, I get 261,140, which is exactly where it is today.
That's what my point was.
Yeah, the arithmetic is good. I mean, it works.
Okay, and can I ran the numbers, but I didn't get the same number, but I probably punched something wrong. Remind me again on the deal about if you get the value of your home changed under protest, that it typically is 2 years, that it stays at that number. Okay, which on this, it makes sense that the 25% would get added back on because that's a factor that would change. Your house would either be finished or not. So,
Yes.
But that extra 10%,
Is market driven.
huh?
Is market driven.
Yet the
But what, but
so the locking in place is if nothing changes about in either case. So say not his property, but just hypothetically, if somebody that agreed to a value of 200,000, but in the very next year, the entire neighborhood goes up because of a market. Well, that particular one does not get to stay at the 200. It moves with the market. In scenario number 2, you have, again, somebody that has somebody that, that either is assigned in here or is assigned in by settlement waiver at 200, but it was only 75% complete. And then it gets to get moved as well.
no, of course. I mean, that,
So
I
in both
totally,
cases, that would not hold, I mean, that the 2-year hold does not apply.
okay, so it isn't on the house specifically, it's on the,
Anything that happens to the property, either from a market standpoint or through percent completion, that 2-year thing does not apply.
I mean, the getting completed makes sense. I just wasn't sure on the other one. Okay, wait, so I just want to run the numbers.
I know the numbers aren't adding up, but what he said either.
Okay.
I have a question, Mike, on one of the, Robert or Bobby, what is it, first name?
Mine?
Your first name is?
Andrew.
Andrew, I'm sorry. One of the properties he listed as the assessed value going down. I just had a question why that would be.
Oh, on Pat Rios.
Pat Rios is, it's number, it's in his,
Yeah, Pat Rios is one of the other ones near, it's like a different table.
Dry.
that's what I was wondering. It's dry, but.
But it's dry with the boat.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got the boat slip and everything. It's on a different table.
Yeah.
Those land values are much more significant. And
But why did it go down?
well, I mean, it just probably depreciation. We could look at it. We didn't look at it,
I
but
was just answering his question and why. did something go
what's
down?
account? Let's see what account number that is. That is account number.
Right.
That's account number.
I didn't think.
It's Andrew and okay, it's 20478.
If his numbers were right, I think that.
Okay, so the value went from 474 down to 466. It's the depreciation of the house.
Okay. Okay, does that answer your question, sir?
244, 818.
Yeah, okay, so Charlie, when I.
Well, the
ran
other,
that-
no, I didn't answer. You asked me a question.
Who did?
You said,
Oh, okay.
no, it
Go ahead.
doesn't,
Sorry.
because all the other houses he used that went up 10%, some of them were older too, and they were dry and they went up 10%. This one went down 10%, this one went down, and it's dry.
Different land table.
It's a
That's correct, Mike.
It's in a different area.
Yeah, it's a different area. It's a totally different, I mean, this is just a different area.
Okay. All right, so when I ran the numbers, I took 178,050.
Divided by 75%.
No,
Times 1.25.
I did it times 1.25.
Right.
I'd be glad to show you the card.
Then
from
add
last
the,
year.
then add the lot and add 10%. And I'd agree to wherever that comes up to.
So this is our time, the review boards, okay?
Charlie did that and he came out with 230, what'd you come up with?
237,400.
See, and I came up, I did 178,050 times 1.25. I got 222,562. Then I did that times 1.10 and I got 244,818.
Doing it that way does not add back the full 25% of the original. You have to remember, you're taking 25% of 75% when you do that way. Not 25% of the total, the original.
Okay, so you multiplied it by what?
I divided by 0.75.
That's the same number you.
Yeah.
It's these are,
I think that based on the computations that two members just gave and the evidence presented by the district, that the 317, 460 is well within where it should be, actually, a little low, because equity is 321 and sales are 358.
I agree.
Okay.
I think the sales and equity grids both support the price.
Charlie?
all right, so on account 20353, taking into consideration the possibility of incorrect appraised market value and the possibility of the appraisal ratio exceeding the median level of the appraisal, I make a motion that we leave the value for 2020 at $317,460.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
No, and now, if I pay attention in class, he's right. Because I was taking, I think 25% to the 75% instead of adding. Anyway, your math is right.
Thank you.
If I had called you before I showed up, I could have saved you this 30 minutes. No, I agree, I made a math mistake.
No,
And you made the same one, so, okay, that cleared that up. Okay, that's great.
Okay, hearing is closed.
All right.
Thank you for
No, that
participating.
says math didn't add up, I was incorrect. All right, no, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, very smart guy.
Hey, and if you would, please take the survey,
Okay,
that we would appreciate it.
all right, I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. I learned from this one.
Good. We have
another person, I believe.
Oh, do we?
Person or affidavit or whatever. Are we doing a bathroom break real quick?
Yeah.
I think we're doing one.
2 minutes.
Move it.
Yeah, I'll clean that up.
You know if the next one is in person or?
No. This computer's taking forever though, but I do know.
Hey, is Ramona trying to get on?
This is the first time I've done, I have no idea.
Got it.
How would I know?
Because she may be trying, I don't know, to answer that question, I don't know, but I know that the guys go, oh, Ramona's here waiting.
Oh, well, I guess I should check.
Yeah, it says somebody waited, but you have to make sure.
No, tell her, like, if Ramona's trying to get in,
Okay,
how she can tell.
sure.
I don't think she's going to, Cindy. She
Yeah, she's not
texted
in
me that she was not gonna be here today.
All day.
I interpreted.
Okay, and that makes sense, because.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
What's going on, it would make sense. That would make sense.
I interpreted it that way.
That's what she told me as well. Well, she heard today.
I'll call you, on my lunch break.
Okay, we're really gonna do 12:10 this time.
Yay.
What do we do about 12:10?
We're really gonna do 12:10.
Person?
It is in person. It's husband and wife. And
Just for good, you know if they both signed the affidavit?
they are going to. Okay.
Good.
You know, other ones out there, but they had last one this morning.
This couple is the last one of the morning.
Oh,
All right. I'm gonna go check them in.
We're really gonna do 12:10.
I guess so.
that's what it looks like. No, this number isn't, oh, this is.
Yeah, it got really windy like at 11 or 12 o'clock the night of. Like there was a gust for about 20 minutes, just really blowing hard.
I missed the whole thing. I slept through it all. I didn't hear a thing.
Like during
Showed
the
up
day.
on the graph as 2 bursts, about half an hour apart.
Was it about 11 o'clock or so?
One at 11,
Wind or
one after
rain,
midnight.
Charlie?
That's what I
Huh?
Wind or rain?
Wind.
wind.
Yeah.
And it like really kicked it up. I mean, it was like going like,
The most I recorded, well, the most that was recorded in the harbor was 30 knots.
and it's 1.16 knot per mile an hour. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's the calculation. 37.
And I had, at the house,
That sounds about right. 43, 45.
yeah, at the house, I had, a little over 30 miles an hour. But I'm in the trees and it breaks it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We had 158 miles per hour at our house.
You did not, Cindy.
You're right, we didn't.
Cindy has a fudge factor.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Harvey. We weren't here with last Friday morning, which we're glad we did, but 148 miles an hour, whatever Harvey was, that just must have been.
People who stayed said they would never do
Would
it.
never do
No,
it
I mean, in the
again.
story, it gives me nightmares to
Look
like,
at some of those
Saturday.
videos.
Saturday, we went down to check on the boat, I think 3 or 4 times during the day. And at one point, we had foul weather gear, everything, but our face wasn't covered. We had a mask on, but your forehead and everything
Yeah.
wasn't covered. And the rain was being blown so hard sideways that it felt like little pellets hitting you
Oh, this Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
down at the harbor.
I
It really,
It didn't rain that hard on our house.
it hurt.
it didn't like, it would be calm and then, woo, and I mean, the
Yeah.
trees would be bending over sideways.
At night,
Oh.
in the evening.
There, it was like all day long, it'd just be a little windy, but then it would come through and it would start pouring down rain. and just the wind
My-
went crazy.
Some.
My basketball backboard broke. It was like the only thing that broke. I mean, it was like, the little flimsy little plastic up there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have you ever seen
I mean,
those
I just
videos
had
that are
a
out
few
there on
leaves
the
in my
internet?
yard. I don't know, it must bypassed my
The
house.
storm
but-
chasers that were holed up in the Fairfield Inn during Harvey.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like a wind tunnel, and there's
Oh,
out
blew
front,
up.
there's a white van and a Suburban, pretty high vehicles. And then vans go. You gotta go, is it gonna go? Is it gonna go? No,
Well,
not
the
quite,
first,
you know.
the
Yeah,
first
that was-
two floors of that
just on the
hotel
verge of
had
being
water.
blown
First two
over.
floors did, so they must have been up higher because they had really bad damage there.
Yeah, that meteorologist says that out of Austin, he came back down for this one. He was out of Port Aransas this time. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. That was a harrowing thing. I know that one of Johnny's friends is with the Rockport Fire Department, and he stayed for that. And he says, "Oh my gosh, it was so terrible. Just terrible."
Everybody I talked to that stayed, I don't think they were crazy in the first place, but
I would agree.
they were just terrified.
Yeah, universal comment from
Terrifying.
everybody's on their.
Never again.
Yeah.
Well, when you live on an island, there's really no place to
No
go.
place to go.
We did that a couple of times.
Hawaii's getting blasted.
Yeah. Where are you gonna go? Yeah.
I feel
You know,
bad.
They have a
go to the next
hurricane.
island.
Go to the next
Well,
island. Yeah.
Where you go, I don't know. Get up to higher land, there's lots of mountains there.
Hawaii's so beautiful. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Well, and it's Kauai that's getting hit, the oldest island.
Now
It's
it's
like,
like, they.
Okay, here we go, guys.
Oh, sorry.
That's good.
he was, he ran away from
Why? What was he doing? What was he doing, Don?
They're using the restroom.
All right, you need to tell Amen to clean up the restroom after finishes up. And somebody needs to clean the women's if she's doing it as well.
It's great, wash passes.
Is there a protest room hidden in here
I
somewhere?
think online.
Online?
It was online. It looks like 1 of 2.
So what number
Okay.
is this?
12,
10.
Thank you.
top of page 4.
Oh, got it.
It's the one we tried to do.
Do it earlier.
There's Quincy on the street.
We'll get there. It's just wait until the hearing starts.
Oh, wow.
Morning.
Morning. Hello.
Good morning. Sam and Ann Smith?
Correct.
There you go. Thank you. All set. Okay, we have some administrative to go through before we get started with the meat of the matter, so just bear with us a little bit.
Okay.
We're opening a hearing on case ID 2020-1210. This hearing is being recorded. We are the Appraisal Review Board that will be hearing your protest today. The Appraisal Review Board are the 4 of us. Mike is the representative of the Appraisal District.
I represent the district.
We do not work for the Appraisal District. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience. The survey may be completed using survey form and emailed to ptad.communications@cpa.texas.gov or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary, but we do appreciate it if you take it. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. In accordance with Tax Code Section 4145H, All written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. Do we have all of your evidence?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you. ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 4166F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. Your time to shine.
So what you'll do is, you'll state your name and you're going to say that first, line. It's written large
Okay.
right there. You know that.
I, Ann Smith, do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
I, Sam Smith, do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
My name is Michael Soto. I do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Do either of you folks have a license to be an appraiser in Texas?
No.
No.
Okay. Also on the table, glued down in front of you, is a chart of 4 columns. This is the procedure we'll follow during the hearing. You have a choice. Do you want to go first, or do you want the district to go first?
District can go first.
Okay.
Okay, the subject property is account number 64999. Currently has a value of $290,500. We currently have a class of 5 FB minus for the subject. Currently have a land valuation of $67,080. It looks like the pictometry imagery that you can see here is that on the previous, I think that's on the previous one, or maybe it's the next one over. You can see that this is the subject property outlined in blue. A portion of that is like in the, you can see that there's 2 land segment. One has like wetland, but it's really for the pond area to the back here. The next page that we have, and for the record, the subject property is protested under both incorrect appraised market value and appraisal ratio exceed median level of appraisal. For the comp sales, what we have is 906 Poinciana is the subject property. The sales that we have in the area, you can see that comp number 1 is on Weeping Willow. It's smaller than the subject. It's less class than the subject, and it's sold for $318,000. Very similar land value. From a market value standpoint, it's a pretty good comp. Reports a value of $295,658 when appropriately adjusted in comparison to the subject. You can see the comp number 2 is also on Weeping Willow. That's at 101 Weeping Willow. This one sold for $295,000. Again, the same general class as the subject, 5 and a 5. Very similar in square footage. It's actually slightly less. It's slightly older than the subject. When you look at all the specific elements in comparison to the subject property, it has a value of $291,000. Again, the land value is very similar. I think there's only like $9,000 and $9,400 in difference there. Comp number 3 is on Poinciana as well. This one sold for $552,000. It's got greater land value than the subject. That's adjusted. It's also a better class than the subject, and that is adjusted as well. It's almost the same age, just 1 year older. When you look at all the specific elements, it looks at the indicated value of $308,000. The last one is, I think that's the last. Yeah, the last one is on Weeping Willow. It's 801 Weeping Willow. So this one sold for $214,000. It's It's definitely a lower class in the subject. It's a little bit bigger than the subject, and it's newer than the subject. When appropriately adjusted, that renders a value of 301. So you're looking at all those values, and it gives it a median value just from a sales comparison approach of 298, which supports the value that we currently have on the subject property at 290,500. The other thing that approaches us is comp equity. So these are things, we're trying to find things in and about that area. And we're just trying to adjust them according to their size, their land value, all the specific elements that are there. You can see that on comp number 1 on the equity grid, that's at 1001 Poinciana. Has a value of 250, but it's less of a class in the subject, a little bit bigger than the subject. Looks like the same age, effective age as the subject. That purports a value of 295. Again, that's a lower class than the subject. On the next one, there's a 5FB as well. The subject is 5FB minus. I guess that's a 5FB minus as well. They're within 2 years of one another. This comp is actually smaller than the subject. Again, it has a value of 260. When appropriately adjusted, that renders a value of 281 and change. So then you go to the next thing. This one is comp number 3. It's also on Poinciana Street. This is less of a class in the subject. The value for the land is a little bit less. And you can see that it's smaller than the subject as well. When you look at that value, when appropriately adjusted at the bottom, it renders a value of 280 and change. Comp number 4 is also on Poinciana Street. That is less of a class than the subject. That's a 4 rather than a 5. It's much bigger than the subject and older than the subject as well. Renders a value. What I would say is that the median equity value reported is 286,950. Again, warrants a change in the negative fashion.
Okay, so now y'all have 2 minutes to cross-examine and then 5 minutes for y'all to present. So a total of 7 minutes.
Any particular reason that you didn't pick more properties for comps on Poinciana itself?
I don't know. I mean, we could have picked more comps if we wanted to. This is the comps that we presented. You're talking sale? Are you talking sales or equity comps, sir?
Both.
Okay. I don't know that we had any other sales comps, but we could definitely pick whatever comps that you want to present. We can.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, because if you look at property number 30804, which is on Poinciana, and it's 5 acres, and it was sold in 2019, I believe. And it's at a rate of 18,750 an acre, whereas the computation you have has us at 22,000 an acre. Also,
how many acres total was that one?
5. And then the one right next to it is 5.8 acres. That's at 18,000. The one right next above that, 65,932 is 2 acres, and it's at 18,750. The one above that, 18,000. Everybody on the across the street from us either didn't get an increase or is at 18,750 an acre, whereas we're at 22. The property ID 30796, they're at 20,000. All of these went from 14,000 to 18,750 an acre. But ours went from 14,000 to 22,000. Number 30796 went from 14 to 20. And the rest of those on our side of the street were at $24,000 an acre since 2007 for 13 years. So I guess my question is, how is a property at 308 or 30, it's so dark, 30804 that sold last year or the year before that increased from 14,000 to 18,000. And
I'm sorry.
that is also in your comps.
Yeah,
Hey, thanks.
sorry, I'm sorry, sir. We were just putting that up there, so.
No,
yeah.
gotcha. But it's hard to see.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I mean, this is where the parity was a problem for us when we were going through all of this and trying to figure out why ours jumped so much when everyone else on our street and that are comparable to our property, and I would assume that they are comparable to our property, all went from 14,000 to 18,750, yet we go from 14 to 22,000.
And the other interesting thing that I'd point out about our particular street, when you consider Weeping Willow in those streets, all of those streets also have gas and water and fire hydrants, which we do not.
And mail.
And mail.
Poinciana is a dead-end street. It only has about, how many properties are on the street? There's not that many. And we do not have water or gas service, whereas everyone around us does.
Which makes the comps a little different when you're talking about a property that is
It's on
available.
Weeping Willow or any of the other streets around us. All the other comps that you all provided that were not on Poinciana have water, gas, and mail. We gave you an attachment or evidence of the comps that we thought were comparable to ours, yet each of those have, that are not on Poinciana, have those amendments that, or amenities that we do not.
Still have 2 minutes, or are you done for
Oh,
now?
Well, and I kind of, if you look at the evaluation that we have now, which is 67,080, which is approximately 22 an acre. Somewhere between taking the properties that we've provided you, we think our value should be somewhere between 14,000 an acre and 18,500 an acre. So if it was at 14, that would be 42,500. If it was at 18.5, it would be 56,166, not 67,000. So if we took even the largest at 18.5 and added it to the improvements, that would make our value at 279,586. Not 290,500. That's kind of our.
No, that isn't kind of our argument, that is our argument. That's what I drew, I printed the map off of your website. Oh, and one I was trying to do a comp on was 57069. If you try and look that up, it doesn't come up with any detail on the system. So there must be a map issue or a number issue or something that's incorrect. But it looks like it's just around the corner from us. Also, if you'll look, where's our property?
Right there.
It's right here.
So on the contiguous property to the right
57,504.
had no change. They're still at 14,000. And let's see, so not that I'm trying to tell on anybody, but let's see.
Which property was that, ma'am, that had no change?
No change. It's the
This one.
here, let me just-
57,504.
it's the Gregory's house, and they got our property.
And And they have the gas and water.
And they have gas and water, and they're at 14,000. So that makes me think, well, I just didn't find the logic, and then I thought, well, okay, comparable sizes, la la, la, and I still couldn't find it. That's, the number on that is 57501, the Gregory's, and they're at 14,000. Also at 14,000 or is the 14102 is at 14,000.
Where are we at on time?
Yeah, you need to,
We're done?
yeah,
We're out of time.
Sorry.
all right. So now the district has 2 minutes to cross-examine and 2 minutes for rebuttal.
I guess
So
the-
4 minutes.
Yeah, the cross-examine time, I think what happened out here is there was an adjusting of the table, like, there were specific breaks at specific acreages. And you can see that even in their evidence, that there was no change at the 1.002 acres just below them, just to the south of them, even in their own evidence, but in that table acreage break, there was, I guess at the 3 acres, or it must have been a little less than that, because part of their acreage is wet. So I don't know if that's in your figure of the 22,000, or is that just the baseline?
It still leaves us at 3 point something usable.
Right, I guess in our evidence, let's see. Yeah, I show 3.036 acres as usable, yeah, and a 0.95 is like the lake or something like that.
Correct.
Let's look at some of the stuff that they've presented, like across the street. And
There's
see
one. Is this one?
What's the number on that one?
This is, let me, is this one of the ones across the street?
We're not.
1401 poinsettia is what this one is.
Account number?
I can't see it from
Yeah,
here. sorry.
1401.
To know what, yes, down the street a little.
That's 804. I'd like to see, yeah, this is the one that's sold. They'd like to look at this one, I think.
What's the address?
1401. I think is where he's at.
Yeah, this is at 18.5 an acre. This is 4830. Let me look at this.
Do you want the
know
table
what
up
the number
there?
is on the map, Mike?
You want the table up there?
Too many questions. Let me present, please. Too many questions.
3080. Don't see it.
Yeah. Okay, the difference here, this is 18,750. And the difference here is that it's got 6.4 acres. So it's the economy of size is working in favor of this subject property. It's 6.4 acres. And if you look at the detail, go to the detail. Anything over 5 acres is going to be at this 18,750 an acre. Okay. So the subject property happens to fall. Anything less than 5 is going to be at that 20. Anything less than 3.5 is going to be at 24. Anything less than 4.2 is going to be 22, and so on. Close that up and go to close that. This is just one of the data points they provided. You can see that they have, of the 6.44, 5 acres of it is viable, and 1.48 acres of this is lake. So they have a total valuation of 93,000 and change for that property. Go to summary. Yes, that's the sale. Do you know what that one sold for, ma'am? Do you have that? Go to deeds and sales. I don't show a sale for that one in 19 at all. That's the one that you purported was a sale, but I don't have it as a sale. And so it could, maybe it's not recorded. I just don't have it. Okay, continue on. There was one. Huh?
You're getting ready to run out.
All I would say is that even on our evidence, there's a warranted change of about $4,000 or something like that. It goes to 286 and change. I'm glad to answer any questions about any of the other ones that they brought up. Or y'all can investigate on your own accord.
Since we are there, there is one that I would like to, because they said the number 57504. And can you show me on the map where that is?
Sure.
Okay, because there they are in the blue.
57504.
Oh, so that's right there.
Yes,
Okay.
it's on Weeping Willow,
And so that gets gas and water.
correct,
Okay. So
and they're
that
at
one,
14,000.
so that one they said is at the 14,000. So,
Let's look at the account. It's got, going to residential market value. The 24,000 here. There's a 60% relive in this. Shouldn't be there. I don't know why it's there. Going to ARB inquiry. No, it's just there's an adjustment that shouldn't be there. I'm not discounting what you're saying. That's factual that it's 14,000. I'm telling you it should not be that low on that particular one. You need to put a note in that account, Jackie. Yep, it's happening. Sorry, guys.
Well,
We won't say anything that, of
did
course,
we told on them?
this is live stream, so I don't know.
Oh, great.
all right, so now,
If you go into 21, you can do it in 21 without any kind of supplement, Jackie. So go into 21 in that account. No, Jackie, you don't do it now. Just put a note that we need to do
I
it.
did. You just told me to go into the account. I already put a note in there.
Oh, got it.
she's fast. Okay. So now we are at, y'all have 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Okay, and then I think probably our strongest argument is if you look at property number 3. Which one is there?
It's all three.
Yeah,
All of these, all of these.
3087 65933
Okay, 3087. I'm missing a number.
30807 65.
Just, we can only look at one at a
Oh,
time.
I'm sorry. All right, well, if you look at 30807 directly across the street over there.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Mike, I couldn't see through you, I'm sorry.
We're gonna close this so you can see this, and
There we go.
we're gonna 30807. She wants to look at that one.
And we're right up here, and that house is, I'm having to get this in,
It's 14, it's an 18 something.
it's at 18750.
And every single
It's
property
like
contiguous to that, all the way down that street, our street, across the street from us, are at 18,750 until you get to 51,925. I mean, that's why I made this exhibit for you, is to see how all the way down this side of the street, it's 18,750.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And they're all 2.3 acres, 2 acres, 3 acres. I mean, there's one that's 3.1, which is 30808, which is 3.1 acres, which is at 18,750. I don't see how.
Yeah, and that's a great
difference.
question. On the surface, you would think, hey, they're only 2 acres or 3 acres and they should be square foot, except that property owner owns 5 contiguous properties. And so his economy of size is he's got a greater economy of size. Even though these are individually parcelized, we recognize that he can exchange that for a unit.
Okay, but 42552 is not the Cruz's property, and it's at 18,750.
Glad to look at that one.
And 30804.
Wait, hold on.
I can't
They
get
can only do one at a time up there.
42552.
And can you pull that one up on pictometry as well?
Mike, where are they point out where they are again too, please? I'm sorry.
Sure, not a problem. Zoom out.
They're across the street.
They're across the street.
Okay. So, this is the subject is right up here, and this is this one down here. So let's look at that one in the account.
Because that looks pretty close in size.
Well, it is, it's just one street.
Go to market. Okay, it's on the 1875. Go to details right here. Now the subject is 3, right? But this one's 5, so it falls in below this category. So it's going to be in the 18750. It's just different size. The subject is 3. This one's 5. So that's the reason it's on a different table. I guess.
Can I just add
how
one
much?
clarification?
Where are we on time? We've investigated quite a few of these.
No, I'm asking you on that one you just did, okay? I just want, okay, because in looking at them, they look to be very close in size. Is it they're actually 4-something acres, but that 1.95 is in a different category? I'm just asking.
Oh, on their subject property, they're 3.03 viable, and then they're almost 1 acre lake.
Got it.
So.
Thank you. I just.
And the lake is actually, it doesn't count, you don't get the lake plus the economy of size, you get one or the other.
Right. I was just asking.
Okay.
Okay. So now, the district has their 1-minute closing.
In closing, what I would say is our own evidence warrants a change of 286,000 and change. I can see that, on the surface, some of these others look to be, like inequitable or something like that, but we've investigated quite a few of these. And the one that's most across the street, there was 5 contiguous lots owned by Cruz. They get that economy of size. And the one we just looked at, although they look similar in size, they're not. The subject property has a lake that they're portioned for. And what I'd say from a sales comparison approach, it's more than valuable at the price that we have, but there's a small warranted change at 286 and change.
Okay, and now y'all get 1 minute for your closing, and I'm gonna have to hold you to your minute.
Okay. Granted, he has 4 lots, but to penalize us because we don't have economy of scale, they value the lots at what the lots value on. And to penalize us because we don't have an economy of scale is really not fair. And you can draw your cutoffs anywhere you want, but when you look at the properties, anywhere from a 3 to 5 acre property is going to be marketed the same and should have the same market value. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so now the appraisal review board, we get 5 minutes to discuss and come up with our result.
The equity grid yields 286,950. That would be my.
I agree. All right, so on account number 64699, taking into consideration the evidence given by the district and by the property owners, taking into consideration the possibility of incorrect appraised market value and the possibility of the appraisal ratio exceeding the median level of appraisal, I make a motion that we change the value for 2020 to $286,950.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
it's been changed.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You'll get a document in the mail.
Thank y'all for participating.
Hearing is closed.
Val, do we have anything else that's in?
No.
We have letters?
We're done?
Yes, I'm sorry,
Thank you.
yes, and you'll get a letter in the mail that will restate the value. how can some people be fine with wearing these? And I swear if I have to wear it for 10 minutes, I'm like flipping out.
I know. Well, we gotta go to school, wear them all they want.
So I looked at the procedure that I have to have on Wednesday. And it looks like it takes an average of about 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Like that's all it takes. Like the preparation is longer, but the actual procedure is only
Once,
5
once
minutes.
they get you, once the doctor gets you his stuff set up on your eye to keep it open, that takes a few minutes. And then it's like 5 minutes to do the procedure.
So are you gonna walk around with the patch?
For one day,
What?
for one day, you
Fine.
have a patch.
Yeah, for one day.
Do we have power?
Okay.
Until 1:30. Looks like it. I don't think we have any letters or anything. Val, do we have any other items for the board?
We don't, not until 1:30.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll drive around that direction.
I'm gonna stay here and work on my computer, if that's okay, Val, and Mike, is that?
Yeah, hey, John. How are you?
So is Charlie's electricity out? Kind of sounds like it.
Where you at? I'd like to see you before you go.
Yeah, okay. I'll drive around and see if they put power back.
Do you want to eat it on the way or you
I'm
gonna
leaving
eat
there.
there?
Okay.
Charlie, your electricity's still out?
All right, I'll meet you there. in
No,
just
it's
a few
out at
minutes,
the dock.
Just to think about.
My phone.
So your sump pump,
No, they're all on battery.
Val, what is Joe?
The
Oh,
problem is my refrigerator is,
we are, Mike, at a standstill
my refrigerator is out.
on being able to
on the boat.
Yes.
everything on our list.
Well, do
Because
you
I
have a
didn't
lot of
want
stuff
to-
in your
tied with something
refrigerator?
else.
I didn't want to run it on
And,
battery.
I sent out emails.
It'll run on both. And it went to battery and I didn't want it to stay there because
Because it'll drag it down.
it'll drag down my battery
Yeah.
after a while, so.
Because we had a refrigerator on our Duffy and we had that taken out very quickly.
I'm gonna take
Are
it
we
out.
done for the day?
No, we'll be back at 1:30.
So
So
this
what they
live
do is
stream?
they shut off the audio, they go ahead and turn it